Plus, NordVPN.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage, no medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ETHOS.com/term.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
The results are in the Chilean presidential election, with an ultra-conservative former lawmaker defeating a communist challenger.
Chile's conservative opposition candidate, Jose Antonio Cast, has secured a thumping victory in the presidential runoff election. He defeated the candidate of the left-wing governing coalition by over 15 percentage points Sunday. According to electoral results, with over 95% of the vote counted, Cast won more than 58% of the vote, as Chilean voters overwhelmingly embraced his pledge to crack down on increased crime, deport hundreds of thousands of immigrants without legal status, and revive the sluggish economy of one of Latin America's most stable and prosperous nations. Bernie Bennett reporting.
Former Hong Kong media mogul and outspoken critic of Beijing, Jimmy Leahy, has been convicted in a landmark national security trial. The 78-year-old pleaded not guilty to the charges that he faced. Now he could face up to life in prison. News and analysis, townhall.com. The European Union has indefinitely frozen Russia's assets in Europe.
The move is to ensure that Hungary and Slovakia, both with Moscow-friendly governments, can't prevent the billions of euros from being used to support Ukraine. In a special procedure meant for economic emergencies, the EU blocked the assets until Russia gives up the war on Ukraine and compensates its neighbor for the heavy damage it has inflicted. It also will allow EU leaders to determine how to use the tens of billions of euros in Russian central bank assets to underwrite a huge loan to Ukraine. Jason Walker reporting.
Ukrainian President Zelensky is expressing a willingness to drop Ukraine's NATO bid in exchange for Western security guarantees. Zelensky has rejected U.S. proposals for Ukraine to cede territory to Russia, calling those proposals unworkable. Townhall.com.
It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Good morning, and welcome to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Hello to everyone in the John Fredericks Media Network. It is Monday morning, December 15th, 2025. We are indeed broadcasting live from our studios in Nashville, Tennessee. It's time for the Morning Rundown, which is brought to you every day at this time by our friends at the Glock Store. The Glock Store, located just a few miles from the airport right here in Nashville, Tennessee at glockstore.com. So here we go. Here is the Morning Rundown for Monday, December 15th, 2025. Number one, a weird and violent weekend. 4 separate incidents of violence garnered worldwide attention. Each of those incidents raised huge questions, I think in particular about the common sense of law enforcement in some areas. Number 2, Hollywood director Rob Reiner and his wife were apparently murdered on Sunday, stabbed to death, reports say, by their 32-year-old son. These are reports, unconfirmed. The Los Angeles Police Department is mumbling, bumbling, and stumbling through the details. The spokesperson for LAPD held a press conference late last night in which he said basically nothing and said, we're not going in yet because we don't have a warrant, a search warrant. This is 5 hours after the bodies were discovered. What's wrong with that picture? A little more on that later. Number 3, 3 Americans were killed in Syria by an ISIS member who was allowed to be on the Syrian security force. That's not a good deal. Number 4, 2 gunmen, apparently Islamist immigrants, murdered 15 people at a Jewish event at a famous beach in Sydney, Australia. We've got some video from that seems to raise even more questions. And then the Prime Minister of Australia says, now we need gun control. No, you don't. You need somebody in that crowd on the beach with a gun to take down the shooters. Number 5, an unknown gunman murdered 2 Brown University students, injured 9 on campus. Then police in Providence, Rhode Island, detained and then released the suspect. The shooter is still at large, and the president of Brown University reveals she's a complete incompetent when she was asked questions about the event. She didn't know what she was doing. And then one of the victims was a young Catholic girl from Alabama who was the head of the Republican Party in Brown University. Not good at all. Number 6, a defiant illegal alien with a final deportation order. Yes, that Maryland man, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, speaking in Spanish over the weekend, claimed to be the victim after a lunatic leftist judge nominated by Barack Obama ordered his release from ICE custody. Tom Pappert will give us all the details at the bottom of the hour. Number 7, here in Tennessee, Governor Leahy, Senator Marshall Blackburn, State Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson announced on Friday that the Turning Point USA chapters, I think it's called Club America, will be in every public high school here in the state of Tennessee. Now, that's good. I think the teachers' unions will resist it. And, of course, we are looking to partner with Turning Point USA to do our National Constitution Bee in October. Number 8, this is a weird story. You know, Barry Weiss has been named as the new head of CBS News. She did the Free Press and made a whole bunch of money. And people are saying, and this is what David Ellison's, the son of Larry Ellison, has purchased Paramount, CBS, and is trying to buy some others. And everybody said Barry Weiss, because she won the Dow Prize in 2023, along with, Matt Taibbi and Michael Schellenberger. Everybody said, oh, yeah, she's going to be great. She's been awful so far. And we've got a clip, which we'll play in hour 2. She had a special town hall meeting and with Erica Kirk. She brought in a guy, the guy who asked Charlie Kirk, her murdered husband, the last question. It was very nasty, negative, kind of a, why don't you disavow Donald Trump's violent rhetoric question. How did she allow this? It's just, we'll play it. Your reaction will be just terrible. Number 9, hour 3, our good friend Chris Berger will be here. He knows about all things Tennessee politics. We'll talk about the Tennessee General Assembly. Number 10, in hour 2, if you haven't bought that holiday gift, you'll have an idea in hour 2. Big news. It's a gift announcement for the holidays. Big news about our documentary, How the Deep State Took Down Richard Nixon. You can pre-order the ebook about that and get it in time for Christmas. And while you're doing that, get a free copy of the documentary right now. Just go to do that. We'll give you more details in hour 2. Just go to michaelpatrickleahy.com and you can click on, I think it's ebook bundle. Ebook bundle. You'll be able to buy it for $9.95 for the conservative of your conservative out there who's an American populist and constitutional will love this gift. So there you go. That's the Morning Rundown brought to you by our friends at the Glock Store. Now this one I get to talk about my good friend Lenny McGill and his incredible Glock Store. Have you been wondering what to get that special 2A Second Amendment guy or gal in your life? Well, it's never too early to start thinking about it. And it's never too early to save, especially when you visit GlockStore.com. The huge Glock Store Christmas sale is going on now, and they have incredible discounts on virtually everything they sell. I'm talking huge discounts on optics, barrels, compensators, magazines, extension, extended controls, slide cuts, and so much more, including incredible deals on factory rebuilt Glocks. Hey, if you can't tell the difference, why pay the difference? And don't forget to drop in a Vortex Red Dot reindeer sticker or patch or a Vortex Tactical Christmas Tree sticker or patch for a chance to win either a Glock 47 or a Glock 45 nicely equipped with a Vortex Red Dot optic. It really couldn't be any easier to get the best deals of the year on the best gear in the country. That's the huge Christmas sale going on right now at Glockstore.com. All right, let's go to the shooting at Brown University. We've got a clip that shows what happened there. Clip 15. Let's play this right now. Okay, there's the classroom. Now you hear the shots. Oh, this is police knocking on the door to get in. And
Police! Providence police! Hands up, hands! Providence police! Everybody's hands!
yeah, this is really terrible.
Everybody get your hands,
This is after the event. Okay, so it's a kind of chaotic situation. Now, 6 hours after the shooting, the president of Brown University asked, well, what can you tell us about it? She knew nothing, like Sergeant Schultz. Play clip 8.
I'm catching up right now.
President, with all due respect, 6 hours after the shooting, and you said you don't know what was going on in that classroom? How does that happen? Were they taking an exam? Were they meeting for a club?
I don't know.
6 hours later, and you're the president, and you don't know.
I do not know.
Well, that's kind of concerning.
Well, she's a complete idiot. I mean, she's not doing her job. Okay, speaking of not doing their job, Rhode Island Police, clip 10.
I want to share with the people of the state of Rhode Island what this investigation looks like, where we are today, where I anticipate it moving forward. So last night, I wish you could have been with me in the command post where there were literally dozens of Providence police officers working to develop leads in this very difficult case. Difficult, obviously, because of the tragedy that occurred on the campus, but also difficult.
Okay, so the guy, basically what he said is, yeah, we brought a guy into custody, we released him because he wasn't the guy. Yeah, but, we're working hard at it. I don't have any confidence in the law enforcement in Providence, Rhode Island, or in Los Angeles, California. When we come back, we'll hear in person, in Spanish, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, a free man blaming you. Back after this.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code Godzilla for free activation.
This past year has been one of the hardest in MyPillow's history. It's because of you that they're making it through. They want to thank you for your continued support by passing on some Christmas specials to our listeners. Get the Children's Bible Story Pillow 5-pack for $29.98. My Slippers with a free bottle of leather protectant spray for $39.98. Blankets, comforters, and duvets for as low as $25. And a blowout sale on the standard MyPillows for just $14.98. So go to mypillow.com or call 800-854-0504 and use promo code Godzilla to take advantage of these wholesale prices, including the standard size MyPillow, originally $49.98, now only $14.98. Queens $18.99, Kings only $1 more. We know MyPillow products come with a 10-year warranty, but MyPillow has just announced that they are extending their 60-day money-back guarantee. That's right. Orders placed between now and December 25th will have their 60-day money-back guarantee extended through March 1st, 2026.
My Patriot Supply, America's most trusted survival food company, wishes you and yours a very Merry Christmas. As our gift to you, we've got an amazing deal on survival food kits. Buy one, gift two. That's right, for a limited time, when you grab our best-selling 4-week emergency food kit, we'll include 2 1-week kits free to hand out as gifts. That's 4 weeks of emergency food for you, and 2 ready-to-give gifts for anyone on your list who's into preparedness, or anyone who needs a nudge in that direction. But they're only available for a limited time. Grab yours at mypatriotsupply.com and give the gift of food security this Christmas. With 2,000 calories per day, 16 delicious meal and snack varieties, and up to 25-year shelf life, it's no wonder our 4-week food kit is the best-selling emergency food supply of all time. But the buy one, give two Christmas special won't last long. So claim yours now at mypatriotsupply.com. That's mypatriotsupply.com.
I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of Glockstore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported the Second Amendment rights of free men and women to protect themselves and their families with firearms. We offer the very best in both selection and prices on Glock handguns, custom Glocks, Glock magazines, and high-performance shooting accessories at Glockstore.com. We also have the finest retail showroom and our Shoot 270 shoot rooms right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Come visit us at Glockstore.com, and you'll be glad you did.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We are broadcasting live from our studios in Nashville, Tennessee. If you want to weigh in, our phone number is 615-814-2848, 615-814-2848. Tell Patrick, our producer, 3 things. Number 1, your name. Number 2, the state in which you reside. And number 3, the topic. And really, there's a couple of topics that we'll be discussing today. The shootings all over the country, the world, and also in our next segment and in this segment, the release of illegal alien with a final deportation order, Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Now he's putting on the victim's mantle. But before we get to that, we have a breaking story in the murder of movie director Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle. And here's the story. It's from the New York Post, and it was published literally 10 minutes ago. Rob Reiner's son, Nick, in custody after horrifying murder of Princess Bride director and wife. Rob Reiner's troubled son is in police custody following the murder of the famed director and his wife, Michelle, at their Brentwood home, law enforcement sources said Monday. Nick Reiner, age 32, has not been arrested, but is in the custody of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, the sources said. TMZ first reported the news. And let's kind of go on. See, do we have any more on this? Now, this is kind of, I'll go back to the TMZ. This is interesting, the way, I want to talk about kind of the way this news has been reported. You know, the Los Angeles Police Department has so far failed to identify the victims. Now, this is a little weird because, think about it. A 70-year-old man, they said, and a 68-year-old woman were found dead at the house owned by Rob Reiner. Okay? Now, how did they determine he was a 78-year-old man? How did they determine she was a 68-year-old woman? I mean, obviously, what, did they check the driver's licenses? I mean, clearly, you can't say, oh, a 78-year-old man has been dead and identify that as a 78-year-old man and then not have some level of confirmation. And yet, last night, this politically correct deputy police chief in L.A. gave just a terrible, terrible press conference. Here is, this is interesting. This is new. Again, breaking as of, updated as of literally 2 minutes ago by TMZ. And TMZ is saying Rob and Michelle Reiner's son has been arrested and is being held on $4 million bail, TMZ has learned. The 32-year-old is in the custody of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department as of Monday morning, according to online records. Okay, so this is interesting. Notice it's the Sheriff's Department and not the City Police Department. I think Brentwood is interesting. Brentwood, California. It's been reported as a separate city. I don't know if it's in the jurisdiction of the city of Los Angeles or of the county of Los Angeles. Now, the city, the LAPD deputy chief is the one who held the press conference last night. Let me continue with the TMZ report. As we reported, the couple was found by one of their daughters Sunday with their throats slit inside their Los Angeles home. Friends and collaborators, Billy Crystal and Larry David, were seen leaving the couple's home Sunday evening looking very distraught. In video obtained by TMZ, Billy and his wife Janice, Billy Crystal, appeared sad and emotional, with Janice wiping tears from her eyes as the two left the area around where people roped off, or police roped off the crime scene. I'll continue with TMZ. Looks like, I mean, you wouldn't be surprised that the best sources we've had, or the most information on this, has come from People Magazine and TMZ. Why? Because it's a Hollywood story. They're connected with Hollywood gossip. Their sources, are probably pretty good, it would seem to me, in terms of the Hollywood community. An outpouring of tributes has come in following the tragedy, including those from Barack Obama, Stephen King, and Ben Stiller, among others. Rob Reiner was 78. His wife Michelle was 68. So that appears to be the latest news on this. I'm just checking to see if there's any other news. It is very frustrating the way the Los Angeles Police Department has handled the communications, and really, this indicates, I think, just the way law enforcement in blue cities today has become so politically correct that they can't do the basics. This press conference last night, again, the city of Brentwood, and again, I don't know, according to the TMZ report, I don't know whether the city of Brentwood is within the jurisdiction of the city of Los Angeles or the county of Los Angeles. The fact that the arrests were made, according to TMZ, the fact that the arrest was made by the sheriff's department indicates to me that the city of Brentwood itself may be within the county of Los Angeles, which then raises the question, okay, if that's the case, why was the deputy chief of the Los Angeles Police Department conducting an interview, a press conference late last night where he said nothing? And why were they at that time presented to be the ones in charge of the investigation? Doesn't make, I don't know. Well, this will all play out, but it's a terrible, terrible situation. And the other thing that's weird about this, you look at the timeline. So apparently he's got a big mansion in Brentwood, and across the street, his stepdaughter, that is the daughter of his first wife, Penny Marshall, was living with their kids. And I had one report that it was the stepdaughter who discovered the bodies, but there's another report He and his wife, Michelle, had 3 children, I think 2 girls and 1 boy. With the boy, Nick Steiner, age 32, had all a series of drug addiction problems. They'd had difficulties in their lives. He did a documentary in 2016 with his dad about his sort of drug addiction. That would have been, he would have been what, 22, 23 at that time. But what's interesting now, the report was that at 3:38 p.m., his daughter with Michelle called police and they got there. And so, but what's weird about it is, okay, so there are 2 bodies there. The police arrive. They apparently don't conduct any searches of the house because they're waiting on a search warrant, says LAPD. But LAPD is saying that like 6 hours in their press conference, 6 hours after the bodies were discovered. Well, the other thing about this is, well, if the bodies were discovered and reported at 3:38 p.m., when did they die? We don't know that. And where was their 32-year-old son, Nick Steiner, who now, it appears according to TMZ, has been taken into custody and has $4 million in bail and arrested. TMZ is reporting the guy's been arrested. But by the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. We haven't heard details from the Sheriff's Department yet. We haven't heard details from the police department. We have heard the mayor say last night that it was, in fact, Rob Reiner and his wife. We'll keep you posted. It's a developing story, and we'll keep you posted on those details. Hey, when we come back, Tom Pappert joins us with the latest on Kilmar Abrego Garcia.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code Godzilla for free activation.
The math is simple. Every dollar we waste on unnecessary federal supervision is a dollar we can't use to fight violent crime. The Safer Supervision Act cuts bureaucratic waste and frees up law enforcement resources to protect families from serious threats. Law enforcement officers across the country and Republicans in Congress agree this is a smarter way to improve public safety. Stop the waste, protect our communities, fix federal supervision. Visit safersupervision.com to help. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
Cold weather is here, and it's only getting colder. When you want instant whole room warmth, you go with Eden Pure, a trusted name for years on my show. Now they've done it again with the Eden Pure Gen 40 Plus infrared heater. This powerful compact unit gives you fast, even heat you can feel in seconds. Infrared heat warms you directly, not just the air around you, and it doesn't dry out the air. It's quiet, compact, and safe with multiple built-in safety shutoffs, and it heats up to 1,000 square feet. Perfect for the living room, bedroom, or office. And right now, Eden Pure is thanking our listeners. The Gen 40 Plus normally sells for $224, but Eden Pure is giving our VIP listeners an additional $50 off. bringing it to just $174. That's right, only $174 for state-of-the-art infrared heater. Now, this is a limited time offer with a strict limit of 3, and supplies are moving fast. So go to EdenPureDeals.com, use promo code Godzilla50. EdenPureDeals.com, promo code Godzilla50.
Is your pet ready for some pawsome fun? At Creekside Pet Hotel in Kennesaw, every day is a tail-wagging adventure. Whether they're romping with friends in day camp, enjoying a staycation in our cozy boarding, or getting pampered in our luxury spa, we make sure every furry guest gets the royal treatment. Happy pets, wagging tails, and the best care. What more could they ask for? Book your pet's perfect getaway today at CreeksidePetHotel.com or give us a call at 770-422-4700.
My fellow Americans, I have to tell you about my good friends at D.T. McCall & Sons. They have furniture and appliances and a lot more. They've been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years, and they're not going to rip you off. No hidden charges, no delivery charges, no charges for all of the crazy things. These are sick people at the lumber yards. These are very sick people. They charge you for cords and hoses and haul off. They charge you for all of these things. They call them hidden charges. It's the type of surprise that you don't want to see. It's like an October surprise, but it's worse. D.T. McCall & Sons, they're not going to do that. They're great people. They're going to give you a great deal. With locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, D.T. McCall & Sons will give you the deal of your life. Check them out today or go to dtmccalls.com.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back. Well, on Thursday, a left-wing lunatic Obama-appointed judge decided that she wanted to reinvent 100 years of immigration law. And she decided that an illegal alien by the name of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, yes, the Maryland man, who illegally entered the country in 2012, who in 2022 was stopped by Tennessee Highway Patrol here in Tennessee, just a few miles from Cookeville, Tennessee, while he was driving erratically and speeding. And they pulled him over, and he was driving a vehicle owned by a convicted human smuggler, and he did not have a valid driver's license, and he was transporting 9 people who couldn't speak Spanish. And an hour and 20 minutes into that traffic stop, the Biden-era FBI called up the Tennessee Highway Patrol and said, "Release this guy." And, of course, he was then deported to El Salvador. And when we broke the story that he'd had this traffic stop, a grand jury in Middle Tennessee indicted him on human smuggling charges. They brought him back after they had deported him to El Salvador, legally, by the way. Yeah, we'll get into that in a bit. So he comes back. He's been on trial, been in ICE detention, and now has been released. The trial is going to start sometime in January. So over the weekend, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who's been in the country, for 13 years, was released, and he's suddenly the victim. We're going to play this clip, and then we'll bring our own Tom Pappert in, the Dow Prize winner for his reporting on Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Let's play this clip of the victim.
Ahora estoy aquí de pie frente a ustedes y la lucha seguirá. Yo seguiré de pie, no le bajaré la cabeza a nadie. Siempre estaré de pie sobre todas las injusticias que ha hecho este gobierno.
I stand here today with my head held up high, and I will continue to fight and stand firm against all of the injustices this government has done upon me.
Okay, so let's bring Tom Pappert in. So there's Kilmar Abrego Garcia, been in the country for 13 years. Apparently, in this clip, can only speak Spanish. Hasn't learned English yet, according to this. Although, in that traffic stop video, Tom, we saw him speaking English. What is your reaction to that sudden announcement of victimhood by alleged human smuggler and illegal alien Kilmar Abrego Garcia?
Well, Michael, I would argue we saw him attempting to speak English in that video. I would argue even all the way back in 2022 when he was looking at potentially being arrested. Tennessee Highway Patrol suspected human trafficking at the time, according to a DHS document. He was struggling to speak English, he could not pronounce, for example, St. Louis. It was very rough for a guy who'd been living in the country for a decade at that point, and now for 13 years. Well, I'm not surprised to see him try to make himself the victim in all this. We saw this when he was taken into ICE custody back in August. He had about 72 hours of freedom after he was released by a liberal magistrate judge in the Middle District of Tennessee before he had to report to ICE. And I think he said, again in Spanish, something to the effect of corrupt government or corrupt administration.
Right.
I think he's getting some very effective coaching from his lawyers. Yeah. Remember, 4 legal teams, 2 of them based in New York. He's got Quinn Emanuel, which is one of the top big law firms in the country. He's also got Hecker Fink, which is the personal lawyer of President Joe Biden, former lawyer of E. Jean Carroll, the crazy anti-Trump columnist who accused him of something sexual, even she's not exactly sure what it was. So he's getting some very good coaching. He also has this group standing next to him. The translator there, I believe, is with CASA, a national organization that's essentially something approximating a union for illegal immigrants. If you are an illegal immigrant and you are a CASA member, you get this public relations team that will descend on the media at your behest. So I think he's getting, again, some very effective coaching, but I don't think that this is going to penetrate anything outside of, let's say, the MS Now audience.
So Greg Bavino with CPB, the Border Patrol, had a few words to say about the future of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Let's play this clip 5.
Once he becomes deportable for the second time, remember, he was deportable the first time and actually got deported. When he becomes deportable the second time, we're going to deport this individual. It's too bad that we have these activist judges that legislate from the bench and put MS-13 gang members back out on the streets to harm Americans. That's what we're doing in these American cities, are taking individuals like this, quote Maryland ad, out of circulation and putting them back where they need to be, and that's in their country of record.
Yeah, your thoughts on that, Tom Pappert?
Well, he's exactly right, except I would argue that Kilmar Abrego Garcia remains deportable. All you have is a judge, an Obama-appointed activist judge named Paula Zenas, who is attempting to flout the authority of immigration courts and claim that a final deportation order is not, in fact, a final deportation order. So I'm sure that the Trump administration is not looking to defy the courts for something as frankly unimportant as Kilmar Abrego Garcia, but this appeal, which is still going to be forthcoming, I believe, will absolutely show that this insane crackpot judge overstepped. She, as you said, attempted to invalidate and rewrite 100 years of immigration law, and we're going to find out that he is, in fact, deportable. That's my prediction.
Yeah, this is all a political move to delay the deportation of illegal aliens. That's what it is. That's why these law firms, what are we up to, $12 million now of legal fees?
That's my best. I would say that's a conservative estimate.
Yeah, it's probably more than $12 million in legal fees to keep this guy from being deported. Now, this guy doesn't have $12 million. He's, but the money's coming from some various leftist groups who want to stop the deportation of illegal aliens. That's really what's going on here. Now, Lori Reese is a fellow with the Heritage Foundation. We've had her on the show. And she, I think, has experience as a counsel for Department of Homeland Security, has been involved in these immigration laws. She says, okay, this is not due process. This is excessive process. Tom, we'll play this clip. Get your reaction.
I think Americans are shocked that this guy is still here. But the silver lining in all of this is it shows how significantly we need to change our deportation proceedings from due process. What we're seeing here is excessive process. This guy has gotten so many bites at the apple, he's on to like the second or the third apple. The only question that should be asked in deportation proceedings is, are you deportable, yes or no, which they usually agree to. They should not be able to apply for additional immigration benefits at that stage. They were already given 2 bites at the apple before they came to the U.S. and shortly after they arrive in the U.S. He ignored both of those, and he is grossly abusing our deportation system.
Yeah, no kidding. Excessive process. That's what this is all about. Excessive delay process. Your thoughts, Tom Pappert?
It's excessive process, and again, we've said this before, no American citizen gets this level of process. If you get an unfavorable decision in Tennessee, you go to Maryland, you get a better judge who gives you a more favorable decision. No American citizen could ever conceive of this. You get a ruling against you in 2019, 6 years later, you think, I really didn't like that. I'm going to appeal it. And everybody takes this seriously. It's beyond even the concept of process. He's getting due coddling at this point.
Yeah, and the coddling, it's interesting because you look at the judge in this case, the Obama-appointed judge, Paula Zinnes, birth name, by the way, something like Pangiata Zinnes. She spent 16 years as an assistant public defender. And she's basically part of the defense team right now. She's not an unbiased. She's attacking the judge. She's attacking the Department of Justice attorneys, claiming they lied to her, etc. It's funny, Tom, this idea of due process, we did in our documentary about how he was legally deported. We had a clip from Professor Alan Dershowitz on due process, an expert on these things. And of course, the Fifth Amendment says no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. It says no person, doesn't say citizen, which means, okay, you can get due process if you're an illegal alien. But what Dershowitz said, what is due process? It is the process that is due to you. And the Supreme Court has made it very clear that due process simply means to have a hearing and an opportunity to respond. That's it. And illegal aliens have a limited, much more limited due process than a citizen of the United States. This is what Paula Zinnes is trying to change. Your thoughts, Tom Pappert?
Well, yes, and specifically what she wants to change is the criteria for deportation. It all began with the claim that maybe DHS didn't have their ducks in a row because he was brought back into the country after being deported. And the way this case has ended, at least from Paula Zinnes's desk, is if an immigration judge does not include a magical series of 5 words in the perfect order that she is looking for, then every deportation order in the country is invalid. So they have gone from due process to let's create a process that gets us the outcome we're looking for. That's what's actually happened. It has nothing to do with due process or the courts or standard operating procedure. No, this is anything but. This is creating a solution because they found a problem. That's all this is.
Yeah, and Tom, what's interesting about this, who knew that politics would be all about due process? We've got a book, an ebook bundle, our documentary, and an ebook that you can order for Christmas, How the Deep State Took Down Richard Nixon, which I wrote with Jeff Shepard, who was there, a White House attorney. Now, what's interesting about that, you can go to michaelpatrickleahy.com and just click on ebook bundle. You can buy it, get it right now. You can get the streaming documentary right now. You can watch it as we speak, and the ebook will come to you before Christmas. There were a dozen due process violations of Richard Nixon and Watergate defendants' rights. The left is quiet about that, but they want to create all new stuff for Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Hey, come back. What happens next with Kilmar Abrego Garcia? Back with Tom Pappert after this.
Is a record player the best way to listen to music? Of course not. So why are you still taking vitamins in pill form that haven't been upgraded since the 1930s? Even if you don't have trouble swallowing, most vitamins in pill form can't be absorbed very well. It's time to upgrade to the pill-free future of vitamins. Advanced Nutrition Company, Healthy Cell, created a patent-pending ingestible gel that is clinically proven to have 265% the absorption rate of tablets. These physician-formulated supplements come in a small gel pack. You tear off the top and shoot it down. You can also mix it in water. They taste great, they're convenient on the go, and they're more natural too, without chemical binders, fillers, and coatings. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of any product. That's healthycell.com. HEALTHYCELL.com.
Is your pet ready for some pawsome fun? At Creekside Pet Hotel in Kennesaw, every day is a tail-wagging adventure. Whether they're romping with friends in day camp, enjoying a staycation in our cozy boarding, or getting pampered in our luxury spa, we make sure every furry guest gets the royal treatment. Happy pets, wagging tails, and the best care. What more could they ask for? Book your pet's perfect getaway today at creeksidepethotel.com or give us a call at 770-422-4700.
These illegal skill games that keep popping up, fights break out, they're illegal, we got drugs, we got gangs, they're all over the place. How do you get illegal slot machines in convenience stores when Governor Youngkin, you vetoed it, and no referendum, nobody passed it? How are they still here?
At the end of the day, it is local Commonwealth's attorneys that have to bring the cases against the establishments and to get them out. And so, yes, I've vetoed bills. The high court has said that they can't be there. And on top of that, our attorney general has done a full investigation. And we go back to our Commonwealth's attorneys in so many jurisdictions refuse to enforce the law. That's the bottom line. They protect the criminals at the expense of the victims. And that's why, again, elections matter. We have got to elect prosecutors who will put people in jail.
This ad paid for by Churchill Downs.
Ready to turn your idle equipment into cash? Purple Wave Auction is your solution. We specialize in no-reserve online auctions, bringing nationwide buyers to your doorstep. From excavators to dozers, we'll market your assets to a vast audience of eager buyers. No hauling required. We photograph and list your equipment where it sits. Experience our transparent and simple process with expert support. Join successful sellers who trust Purple Wave. Visit purplewave.com today to learn how easy selling can be.
Hey there, it's Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of GlockStore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported our Second Amendment rights with GlockStore.com, the world's #1 source for Glock handguns, parts, and accessories. I also support accurate, unbiased journalism like The Michael Patrick Leahy Show. His team broke the Kilmar Abrego Garcia traffic stop and was the first to obtain that video. Independent journalism at its finest. Visit us at GlockStore.com, listen to Michael Patrick Leahy, and make America great again.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back. We're talking with Tom Pappert, who is the Dow Prize Award winner for his reporting on Kilmar Abrego Garcia. He won that prize along with our own executive editor, Christina Botteri, and yours truly. Now, Tom, you have a story we just published about the Department of Justice saying, okay, guys, okay, you very expensive $12 million plus attorneys for Kilmar Abrego Garcia. You've been on a fishing expedition to get documents. We've given you 3,000 documents. Time to stop the fishing expedition. Give us the details on that.
This relates to the vindictive prosecution claim by Abrego Garcia. And if you'll remember, a couple weeks ago, his attorneys, the criminal defense attorneys in this case, were very optimistic in their filings about whether or not the case would be dismissed entirely. The last we ever heard from the Hecker Fink lawyers was that the Department of Justice, could not disprove the existence of a vindictive prosecution without hearing testimony from Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. Well, at this point, it looks like the ex parte meetings, the sealed filings from the last couple of weeks, were all in relation to whether or not there would even be an evidentiary hearing for vindictive prosecution. And it seems as though the Department of Justice might have made some very persuasive arguments to the Obama-appointed Judge Waverly Crenshaw overseeing this case. And the evidence comes to us through a filing submitted late on Friday, where the Department of Justice says, look, Judge, we've given you 3,000 pages of documents, and at this point, the claim of vindictive prosecution. I always want to say persecution because it feels as though the DOJ is being persecuted here. But the vindictive prosecution claim now depends on one of two theories that the DOJ described as increasingly dubious. One, the mere existence of communication between the Department of Justice in Washington, D.C. and a district attorney or a U.S. attorney in the Middle District of Tennessee can create the mere presence of this communication is evidence of vindictive prosecution. That is not a standard that could ever exist. The DOJ has experts in D.C. that sometimes need to be contacted. In this case, the Middle District of Tennessee says this is an alleged human smuggler who was recently in the custody of El Salvador. We had to talk to people in Washington merely to understand what was happening with the individual. The other option that the prosecutors state is that somehow this very intelligent, very capable prosecutor, Robert E. McGuire, he's been doing this for something like 15 years now. He's the second man in charge. If they ever approve Trump's nominees, he will go back to being the second man in charge of the Middle District of Tennessee. And they say that somehow the Department of Justice would have had to, quote, bamboozle him into unwittingly filing a vindictive prosecution based on evidence that he reviewed that was somehow tainted by the Department of Justice. Neither of these options make a lot of sense. And according to the DOJ, they've submitted 3,000 documents, I'm guessing emails, memos, text messages, everything you can imagine. None of these documents create the impression of vindictive prosecution. What's interesting also, normally when you see a motion like this filed by the prosecutors, it's quickly followed up by something from the defense attorneys for Abrego Garcia saying, no, Judge, they're lying to you. Well, as of this morning, I've yet to see a supplemental brief for this exchange.
Let's put our common sense hat on, Tom. So in April of this year, you broke the story. You broke the story at the Tennessee Star. No one else had this, that Kilmar Abrego Garcia had been arrested in November of 2022 in a traffic stop, had been stopped rather, not arrested, but had been stopped in a traffic stop near Cookeville, Tennessee, when he was driving a van, speeding, weaving, pulled over for an hour and 20 minutes by Tennessee Highway Patrol. It was a van owned by a convicted human smuggler who this guy said was his boss, and he did not have a valid driver's license, and he was transporting 9 illegal aliens who couldn't speak English. I mean, that's the definition of human smuggling. And the Biden-era FBI ordered him released. The reason that anybody with common sense would say, okay, once we've got this story, once we've seen this video, clearly special privileges were granted to this illegal alien by the Biden-era FBI. Hello? How on earth is the argument that this is vindictive prosecution taken seriously?
Well, it goes back to this Obama appointed judge who about 2 months ago now, I guess he was watching some reruns of Fox News and he saw an interview with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche describing the genesis of this case. And he left out the Tennessee Star. I guess I'll forgive him for that. But what he said is we had deported this guy to El Salvador, and all of a sudden every Democrat in the country started telling us we got it wrong. This is a good guy. He's a Maryland man. And after this claim was made, according to Todd Blanche, the Department of Justice said, well, let's take a look and let's see if this person was actually somebody that should have been deported. And what they found, according to Todd Blanche, are the exact allegations that he was charged with that were reported. You know, this 2022 stop was first reported by me at the Tennessee Star with the help of Michael Patrick Leahy and Christina Botteri. But they claim that merely going on Fox News and describing the genesis of this case exists or creates the impression of vindictive prosecution. I guess the claim being that Blanche must have called up Rob McGuire in Tennessee and said, "This is what I want you to do."
It was already in the works. The U.S. attorney saw your story and said, "We better get after this." That's what happened. Tom Pappard, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Michael. Always a pleasure.
Up next, okay, holiday shopping time. We have an ebook and a documentary for you. Back after this. How the Deep State Took Down Richard Nixon. Our book's coming out. Back after this.
Each of us is born with 30 trillion cells that make us. These cells determine how we feel, perform, sleep, focus, and how long we live. And to live our best life, all we have to do is feed our cells properly. But most supplements don't reach our cells, keeping us from reaching our full potential. Make every cell count with Healthy Cell. Founded with a mission to empower people to take control of their own health at the most fundamental level, the cell. Dr. Vincent Giampapa, world-renowned cell researcher and medical doctor, created supplements that work at the cellular level to support immune health, better sleep, sharper focus, and healthy aging. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of any product. That's healthycell.com, HEALTHYCELL, and use code GODZILLA for 20% off.
The Cats and Cosby Show.
It's the top news of the day.
There's a number of Democratic members of Congress who are pushing for impeachment, not just going after the president, going after RFK Jr. and others.
It's a common sense recap of the big stories.
Judge Weinberg.
Listen, it's the most important midterm in our lifetime.
Cats and Cosby, weekdays 5 Eastern, 4 Central on the stations of the John Fredericks Media Network.
This is a big deal.
John Fredericks loves his radio and TV audience, but did you know how to follow the Godzilla of Truth wherever you go? Download the John Fredericks Radio Show app to listen live nationwide. For the daily chit-chat, Trucking the Truth, download the Getter app and join the morning fun on Getter Live from 6 to 10 a.m. Follow John Fredericks on Getter, Truth Social, or Twitter at JF Radio.
WJFN W224EB 92.7 FM Chester, W299DB 107.7 Bon Air, 100.5 FM Goochland, and WJFB.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. Prosecutors in Los Angeles have charged 4 members of an alleged terrorist group with plotting New Year's Eve bombings in California. It's being investigated as a homicide, the deaths of actor-director Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle. Their bodies were found in their Brentwood home in Los Angeles. And one law enforcement source tells the AP that the Reiner's son Nick has been taken into custody. The victims of an anti-Semitic mass shooting in Australia ranged in age from 10 years to 87 years, and the latter a Holocaust survivor.
At least 16 people were killed Sunday after 2 gunmen opened fire at a Hanukkah celebration on Sydney, Australia's Bondi Beach. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese is calling it an act of anti-Semitic terrorism.
This is a targeted attack on Jewish Australians on the first day of Hanukkah, which should be a day of joy, a celebration of faith.
At least 38 others were injured in the attack. One gunman was fatally shot by police, and the second is under arrest in the hospital in critical condition. I'm Donna Warder.
Investigators probing the deadly weekend shooting at Brown University have now released a person of interest who they had been holding, saying the evidence is taking them investigators in a different direction.
I've been around long enough to know that sometimes you head in one direction and then you have to regroup and go in another. And that's exactly what has happened over the last 24 hours or so.
That's Rhode Island's Attorney General Peter Nerona, heard there on WCBB-TV. 2 students were killed in the attack while 9 others were injured. On Wall Street, stocks are in the red this hour. The Dow is down 4 points. The Nasdaq off 66. The S&P 2 points lower. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com, because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, E-T-H-O-S, ethos.com/Mike.
Got any gadgets? Get online protection. NordVPN has a ho-ho holiday deal just for you. Secure up to 10 devices with a single account. NordVPN's Threat Protection Pro feature helps you avoid malware, phishing, and annoying trackers. Just a few taps and you're safer online. Let your gadgets sparkle with online security. Go to NordVPN.com and get up to 77% off plus 3 extra months. NordVPN.
Jimmy Lai, the former Hong Kong media mogul and outspoken critic of Beijing, has been convicted in a landmark national security trial in the city's court. 3 government-vetted judges found Lai, who's 78 years old, guilty of conspiring with others to collude with foreign forces to endanger national security and conspiracy to publish seditious articles. He pleaded not guilty to all of the charges against him. Under Hong Kong's sweeping national security law, though, Lai could face up to life in prison. A mitigation hearing is set to take place in January. European leaders are expected to cement support for Ukraine as it faces Washington's pressure to swiftly accept a U.S.-brokered peace deal. After Sunday's talks in Berlin between U.S. envoys and Ukrainian President Zelensky, Ukrainian and European officials are set to meet later in the day today. News and analysis at townhall.com. Hamas confirms the death of a top commander in Gaza a day after Israel said that it had killed Raid Saad in a strike outside of Gaza City.
The Hamas statement describes Saad as the commander of its military manufacturing unit. Israel has described him as the architect of the October 7th, 2023 attack that sparked the war in Gaza and asserted that he had been, quote, engaged in rebuilding the terrorist organization in violation of the ceasefire that took effect 2 months ago. Israel said it killed Saad after an explosive device detonated and wounded 2 soldiers in the territory's south. Bernie Bennett reporting.
New AP North poll finds this holiday season not quite so merry for American shoppers. Large shares of them are dipping into savings, scouring for bargains, and feeling like the overall economy is stuck in a rut. Vast majority of those surveyed say they've noticed higher than usual prices for groceries, electricity, and those holiday gifts. More on these stories at townhall.com.
It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Okay, it's 10 days until Christmas. If you listen to this program, you are likely a constitutional conservative. And if you are, and if you're like me, you may be thinking about, geez, I'd like to give a gift to somebody, but I don't know what to do. I don't have time. Well, guess what? We have an answer for you. Go to michaelpatrickleahy.com, michaelpatrickleahy.com, and at the top menu, go all the way to the right, as far to the right as you can go, and click on ebook bundle. And when you do click on ebook bundle, you will see the perfect Christmas gift for your favorite conservative. You can pre-order an ebook, How the Deep State Took Down Richard Nixon. It's an ebook and documentary bundle. It's only $9.95. It's the untold story of how the deep state took down Richard Nixon. You instantly get a commercial-free access to our 90-minute documentary, which was released back in August by War Room Films, and you can see that with commercials on Rumble, okay? But if you don't like the commercials, which I fit in that category, and you buy the ebook, you pre-order the ebook, before Christmas, the ebook will be ready. You just click on that for $9.95. You can pay with PayPal or with Venmo, and you get immediate access, commercial-free, to our 90-minute documentary, How the Deep State Took Down Richard Nixon. And then when our ebook is released, and it should be released by December 23rd, you will be able to get that as well. Now, it's a great combination because, we're talking about due process, excessive due process if you're an illegal alien criminal in the United States in 2025. But back in 1972, 73, 74, if you were a Republican associated with the Richard Nixon administration, well, your due process rights were violated more than a dozen times. And we document that. In the ebook, we have even more details about this because you'll see there's something called an ex parte meeting. You've heard us talk about that with Tom Pappert. What is an ex parte meeting? Ex parte. It's a meeting between a judge and a prosecutor, or a judge and a defense attorney, or a judge and somebody else, where other parties are not allowed to be part of it. Okay? If it's a secret ex parte meeting, it is illegal. It's a violation of Canon 3A4 of the Code of Judicial Conduct, which is adopted in 1973, which clearly says you can't do that. If you have an ex parte meeting, it cannot be secret, and there's only a very few things you can have that meeting about. Well, there were innumerable ex parte meetings between Judge John Sirica and Prosecutor Leon Jaworski, and between an appeals court judge, David Bazelon, and the first Watergate special prosecutor, Archibald Cox, violating that canon extensively, and clearly should have resulted in recusal and removal of those judges, and probably the dismissal of all charges against the Watergate defendants and President Nixon. But that didn't happen. Now you'll see how. Well, we'll play this little clip here. Let's play this first clip here, and it'll give you an idea of what's going on in the book and the documentary. Okay, so that doesn't work very well on radio, does it? Let me tell you what that clip is about. That's the dramatic music, which is all these still images of all the various players in the Watergate investigation. And it ends with, of course, our ebook bundle, ebook and documentary bundle. Just go to michaelpatrickleahy.com. Click on ebook bundle, and for $9.95, you can get the full 90-minute documentary, instant streaming access with no commercials, and then pre-order the ebook, which is now, which will by that time will also be available online at Amazon. Right now, we're making it available on michaelpatrickleahy.com. This will be ready before Christmas, probably by December 23rd, the ebook. But right now, you can get the full streaming documentary. All right, we have another preview clip. I think there may be some words in this one. Let's go. Let's play this clip right now.
49 states, 520 electoral college votes, the largest presidential landslide in American history. But less than halfway through his term in office, Richard Nixon was gone. Secret meetings between judges and prosecutors, evidence hidden from defense attorneys, biased juries, an unaccountable prosecution force packed with political enemies, congressional leaders who are out to get the president, and a dishonest media. All told, a corrupt judiciary, unaccountable prosecutors, and an overreaching Congress violated the due process rights of Richard Nixon and the Watergate defendants more than a dozen times. We will document all those due process violations, something that no one else has ever done over the course of more than half a century. This is how the deep state took down a president and created the playbook they've used ever since.
Yeah, and they're trying to use it right now. So to get this right now, $9.95, the perfect Christmas gift right now for your friends who are conservatives, or maybe just treat yourself for Christmas, right? So go to michaelpatrickleahy.com. Go to the upper menu. You'll see it says ebook bundle. Click, and then you'll go to our page, which shows you how to pre-order How the Deep State Took Down Richard Nixon. The ebook is pre-ordered and will be delivered before Christmas. The documentary, you get a code. You just click on, you buy it. You get a code immediately to your email address. You plug in the code, and you can watch the entire 90-minute documentary without commercial interruption. Now, it's been available on Rumble via War Room Film since August for free. And I know at least 50,000 people have watched it there. But I don't know about you, but those Rumble commercials irritate the tar out of me. And you can't have the continual play. The thing to do is order this, and I mean, if you watch it on a big screen TV, it's really something. It's really good. And then the ebook really elaborates on the violations of the Judicial Code of Conduct in great detail. You talk about due process. It's crazy, right? Here we are now, 51 and a half years after Richard Nixon resigned. And whose due process, whose excessive due process is being protected and advanced? Illegal alien criminals. They stomped on the due process rights of Richard Nixon and John Mitchell and H.R. Haldeman and John Ehrlichman and many others. Didn't care about it then. It was a crooked deal. We document it in this ebook, and we document it in this documentary. michaelpatrickleahy.com. Just click on ebook bundle, $9.95, and today you can watch commercial-free that 90-minute documentary. We'll be back with more after this.
Hey folks, Al Green here for SatPhone. When you're on the go, you want to know you're connected. If it's a family vacation or an off-the-grid escape to a remote destination, having reliable communication helps you feel safe and secure. You can't afford to find yourself in a dead zone. That's why you need SatPhone. SatPhones are reliable, durable, and give you global coverage. If you can get outside, you can get in touch. It's that simple. Make calls from your SatPhone to any regular cell phone in the United States. The phones are $1,500 value, but you can get yours free. Just sign up for a 15-month plan, $94.95 a month. Get 150 minutes monthly that roll to the next month. Go 3 months without using them, that's fine. Yes, 3 months, 450 minutes, all yours. Visit SAT123.com or call 855-980-5830. SAT123.com, 855-980-5830. Get surety and security with your sat phone. Call now.
The math is simple. Every dollar we waste on unnecessary federal supervision is a dollar we can't use to fight violent crime. The Safer Supervision Act cuts bureaucratic waste and frees up law enforcement resources to protect families from serious threats. Law enforcement officers across the country and Republicans in Congress agree this is a smarter way to improve public safety. Stop the waste, protect our communities, fix federal supervision. Visit safersupervision.com to help. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
Attention construction pros. Purple Wave Auction brings quality equipment to your fingertips. Join our bi-weekly online auctions featuring dozers, excavators, loaders, and more. We provide detailed listings, photos, and seller contact info. Inspect online or in person. With our no reserve policy, every item sells to the highest bidder. Visit purplewave.com today and see why informed builders choose Purple Wave. Transparent processes, real deals. Your next great purchase awaits. purplewave.com.
How much did you win at Rosie's Gaming Emporium?
Hi, I'm Jerry from Richmond. I won a $23,000 jackpot at Rosie's.
I'm Tammy. I'm from Newport News, and I just won a $5,400 jackpot from Rosie's.
Hi, my name is Kim, and I'm from West Virginia, and I won $99,000 jackpot at Rosie's.
Are you ready? Learn more about Rosie's rewards and jackpots at rosiesgaming.com. Must be 18 or older. Problem gambling? Call 1-888-532-3500.
Is your fur baby looking a bit rough? Transform them from shaggy to snazzy with Be Fur and After Pet Grooming in Marietta, Georgia. Their top-notch groomers pamper your pups with baths, custom cuts, and nail trims that'll have them strutting like show dogs. From mobile grooming vans to their cozy salon, they'll make your pet's spa day a tail-wagging blast. Book now at BeFurAndAfterGrooming.com. Be Fur and After, where pets go from grr to glamorous.
I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of Glockstore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported the Second Amendment rights of free men and women to protect themselves and their families with firearms. We offer the very best in both selection and prices on Glock handguns, custom Glocks, Glock magazines, and high-performance shooting accessories at Glockstore.com. We also have the finest retail showroom and our Shoot 270 shoot rooms right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Come visit us at Glockstore.com, and you'll be glad you did.
This is State Senator Mark Pody wishing you and your family a very Merry Christmas. This season isn't just about the lights and the gifts, it's about the miracle of Jesus Christ. I am so grateful for the Savior who stepped in to a broken world to bring hope, healing, and redemption. He's carried my family through storms and reminded us that His love never fails. My prayer is that you feel His peace, His presence, His joy in a powerful way this Christmas. From my heart to yours, Merry Christmas. God bless.
Paid for by Mark Pody for Senate, Candace Graham Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back. Well, there was much ballyhoo when David Ellison, the son of the billionaire founder of Oracle, Larry Ellison, got some money from Daddy. Okay, maybe not. Maybe he made some money on his own. But, you know, Dad's got all sorts of dough. Dad probably staked him. And, you know, nothing wrong with that. He's trying to play the game. So now they've put together this large media corporation called Skydance, which has acquired, I think, Paramount and CBS News. Too much ballyhoo. And then they purchased Free Press for like $150 million. The founder was Barry Weiss. Now, Barry Weiss, graduate of Columbia University, worked for the New York Times as, I think, an opinion writer for a long time, and then went out and started the Free Press, which has, received some pretty good press. Also, Barry Weiss and Matt Taibbi and Michael Schellenberg received the Twitter files from Elon Musk back 2022, 2023, where they exposed how before Elon bought X, Twitter, now X, basically they were in cahoots with the Biden-era FBI to suspend free speech. And I have one minor thing in common with Barry Weiss. not minor, it's pretty big, but she won, along with Taibbi and Schellenberg, the 2023 National Journalism Prize from the Dow Prize, which is the modern equivalent of the new Pulitzer Prize, primarily for conservatives. We, as you know, at the Tennessee Star, Christina Botteri, Tom Peppert, and I won the Dow Prize for local journalism for our reporting on the Kilmar Abrego Garcia traffic stop and all the related litigation that follows since. I suppose that story is going to keep going on and on and on, and will likely be nominated in 2026 for that story because it may still be going on, right? So I was hopeful when Barry Weiss was named to be the president of CBS and then basically in charge of it, that CBS might improve. Oh, no. She's in charge for like a month or so. And 60 Minutes does this ridiculous piece about the Kilmar Abrego Garcia story and the attorney who got fired, Erez Raveni, for not properly representing his client, the United States Department of Justice, and became a whistleblower. It basically violated attorney-client privilege, and what in my view, was a saboteur of the case brought in the Kilmar Abrego Garcia's deportation, which was legal, by the way. We've talked about it many, many times. The original deportation was, in fact, legal, and then they brought him back to face these human smuggling trials based on the story that we broke. Okay, so they do 13 minutes of baloney on Kilmar Abrego Garcia. And guess what? I send her a note. Hey, Barry, you got it wrong. Give us 13 minutes on 60 Minutes to tell the real story. When the phone didn't ring, I knew it would be Barry Weiss. So fast forward, now she does this town hall on CBS with Erica Kirk, the widow of Charlie Kirk, who was assassinated on September 10th. And she pulls off a ghoulish stunt. She brings in a leftist, the last guy who asked Charlie Kirk a question, and he gives a speech, and he says, "Oh, Erica Kirk, are you going to now renounce the violent rhetoric of Donald Trump?" I kid you not. Who thinks of this stuff? I'm going to play this as evidence that you can't believe of the cringiness of the new head of CBS now, Barry Weiss. Let's play this clip right now.
Erica, as you know, the last person that Charlie ever spoke to was a Utah Valley student named Hunter Kozak. He was asking Charlie a question that day when he was shot, and he's here tonight, and he wants to ask you a question.
Hi there. Erica, I want to tell you how much I appreciate your calls for peace and unity, and I'm likewise horrified by the people in my so-called camp who were cheering about Charlie's murder. I believe that they stoke the flames of violence. But even worse is when powerful, influential people on either side of the aisle stoke the flames.
Hold on, pause. This is a speech, right, from a leftist. I believe it's terrible when they stoke violence. But it's even worse when Donald Trump does it. And let me ridiculous question. And by the way, they brought this guy in. They flew this guy in. I don't know where this thing was held, New York City, L.A. They flew this kid in from Utah to ask this vile question of Erica Kirk, the widow of Charlie Kirk. Let's keep rolling.
When they do it, the flames can become an inferno. And this leads me to Donald Trump, the most powerful and influential person on earth, who has more responsibility than anyone else to put the flames out. Just last month.
What a ridiculous statement. This is a diatribe from a leftist. It's not a question. It's a polemic. Let's continue.
President Trump called on 6 Democratic lawmakers to be tried for sedition, which he clarified was punishable by death. He then reposted a simple message: hang them. I think that you've been making
so let's just, we talked about this. What those senators did was a violation of law. Okay, let's keep going.
To bring peace to our country, and that turning point has been asking Democrats to decry the individuals who cheer for violence. I have and will continue to decry them. But any good faith effort to stop political violence must hold both parties to the same standard and expectation. So in that spirit, will you condemn the violent rhetoric of Donald Trump, the most powerful and influential person on earth?
Okay, stop. Barry Weiss, who gets this interview with Erica Kirk, thinks this is the best way to proceed with this question? Unbelievable. What a waste of an opportunity. And what a left-wing bias from Barry Weiss. Now, what's Erica Kirk going to... Did she know? But I don't know. Did she know this question was coming? It's ridiculous. All right, let's go this.
I appreciate your question. You know my heart. Why would I ever say, yes, go murder people? This is so much deeper than just one. I understand your sentiment. I do. But this is also so much deeper than just one person. This starts at the home, okay? This starts with family. This starts with a seed that grows and grows. You can choose to have evil in your heart, or you can choose to have light. What you consume and what you absorb from the outside world will manifest itself. No, I will never agree with political violence. My husband is a victim of it. I'm a victim of it. But what I'm trying to say here is that we can blame everyone else. We have to look in the mirror. When you become a father, when you become a mother, how are you raising your kids? Are you taking...
So I didn't like anything about this. Okay. I didn't like Barry Weiss bringing this leftist in to give a speech. I mean, if you're going to have a question, here's the way you do a question. You frame, it's one sentence, maybe two. You don't pontificate. You let the person answer the question. But it's a weird answer. I mean, you know, Erica, obviously the widow of Charlie Kirk, she was basically set up for this by Barry Weiss. And she was kind of stuck, right? Because you got to respond in some way. But I think really what she should have said is, what a ridiculous, vile question. And Barry, why are you doing this? Why are you? You're supposed to be a conservative, who's unbiased, and you're bringing this biased question in. That's not her style, but that would have been my reaction. Okay, when we come back, craziness in Australia, violence, and the Prime Minister there says, let's have gun control. Not good. Back after this.
This is Crom Carmichael, CEO of Salty. We got a wonderful email from one of our customers up east named Joe, and here's what he had to say. I started taking Salty almost out of desperation with little hope because I was resigned to the futility that although I was up to taking 2 statins a day, high cholesterol was something I just had to learn to live with. In fact, when I turned 60, after taking a stress cardio test, my doctor called me on a Saturday, which of course is never a good sign, and told me that I was clogged more than 95% of the people my age. I had an angioplasty and a stent procedure done at that time. Today, my stubborn triglycerides are only 1/3 of what they had been before starting taking Sol-T. My prescription statin dosage has shrunk from 60 milligrams to only 10 milligrams a day. My primary care doctor that I have had for many years still can't believe the results, and neither can I. Thank you, Salty, for providing such a wonderful product. And folks, I want to invite you to take care of your heart also by going to GodzillaHeart.com. That's GodzillaHeart.com. Use the code Godzilla at checkout, and you'll get a 50% discount on your initial shipment. Thanks so much.
The Cats and Cosby Show.
It's the top news of the day.
There's a number of Democratic members of Congress who are pushing for impeachment. They're not just going after the president, going after RFK Jr. and others.
It's a common sense recap of the big stories.
Judge Weinberg.
Listen, it's the most important midterm in our lifetime.
Cats and Cosby, weekdays 5 Eastern, 4 Central on the stations of the John Fredericks Media Network.
This is a big deal.
Attorney General Miyares and John Fredericks talk about skill games.
They're unregulated slot machines.
They pop up in 7-Elevens in every corner of Virginia.
The General Assembly has spoken on this.
Skill games.
These things are illegal.
It's the Wild Wild West. Fights break out. Robberies increase.
Skill games.
They prey on the less fortunate.
I say it's a tax on the poor.
They're breaking the law.
My job is to enforce the law. These machines are not allowed.
Enforce the law and get them out of there.
When you see skill games, call the local sheriff.
These things are illegal.
Paid for by Churchill Downs.
Cold weather is here, and it's only getting colder. When you want instant whole room warmth, you go with Eden Pure, a trusted name for years on my show. Now they've done it again with the Eden Pure Gen 40 Plus infrared heater. This powerful compact unit gives you fast, even heat you can feel in seconds. Infrared heat warms you directly, not just the air around you, and it doesn't dry out the air. It's quiet, compact, and safe with multiple built-in safety shutoffs, and it heats up to 1,000 square feet. Perfect for the living room, bedroom, or office. And right now, Eden Pure is thanking our listeners. The Gen 40 Plus normally sells for $224, but Eden Pure is giving our VIP listeners an additional $50 off, bringing it to just $174. That's right, only $174 for state-of-the-art infrared heater. Now, this is a limited time offer with a strict limit of 3, and supplies are moving fast. So go to EdenPureDeals.com, use promo code Godzilla50. EdenPureDeals.com, promo code Godzilla50.
My fellow Americans, I was this close, very close, to buying from the lumber yards. These are sick people. But I turned my head at the last second, and I saw a big, beautiful ad for D.T. McCall's. These are highly respected people. If I had not turned my head at the last second, I would have been ripped off at some lumber yard for $200 in hidden charges, and D.T. McCall & Sons are never going to do that. They'd never do that to you. These are great people. I've known them for a long time. They have great deals, and I just have to say, nobody knows deals like I do. D.T. McCall & Sons has locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, and they have been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years. These are tremendous people. D.T. McCall & Sons. Check out one of their stores today.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Okay, this massacre of 15 people at a beach in Sydney, Australia, it's called Bondi Beach, happened over the weekend. And apparently 2 Islamist immigrants who had long guns walked into the crowd. And apparently this was a Hanukkah celebration. And it was an anti-Semitic attack. They had long guns, and they murdered 15 people on the beach. Now, in the midst of that murder, and those murders, these 2 guys, apparently it's a father, 50-year-old father and 24-year-old son. The shooter, the father, is now dead. The 24-year-old son has been wounded and is still alive, but in serious condition. Everything about this is weird. Now, I'm going to start off with this clip. This is a clip that purports to show the father, the 50-year-old father with a long gun, who was basically shooting and a 47-year-old fellow, I think his name is Ahmed something. He's from the Middle East. And but the 47-year-old went in and jumped on the father with the gun, got the gun away from the father, pointed the gun at the father, but didn't shoot at him. And apparently, subsequently, when the police arrived, the son was shot by the police and is in critical condition. But the father, who from this video was disarmed by this 47-year-old bystander and was without arms, was killed by the police. Now, the whole thing is just weird. And but I want to play you've seen this video, but let's play this video and then I'll narrate it. Okay, shooting. Guy with the white shirt jumps up behind and gets the rifle from the shooter. And guess we didn't get the whole thing. Was that just a little bit of it? That's all we have? Okay. Well, the more on it is, so turns the rifle on the shooter, who then you see the shooter move away, and then you don't see this. Then the 47-year-old hero gets shot by the son, and apparently is in a serious condition right now, but I guess is expected to survive. Now, let's talk about this. If two guys with a long gun go to an American beach and start shooting, I can guarantee you there will be several people with guns on that beach, and they will take those guns and they will turn on the shooters, right? And that is what would happen in America. Why didn't that happen in Australia? Well, I'll tell you why. Australia already has some of the strictest gun control laws in the world. There's this thing called the National Firearms Agreement from 1996. There was a big massacre down there at that time in Port Arthur. If you are an Australian, there is no right to own a firearm, as we have here. No Second Amendment. They call it a privilege, not a right. And self-defense is not, quote, a genuine reason, end quote, for owning a firearm. This is how crazy the Anglosphere, other than the United States, has become. You have to get licensed. You have to obtain a license, which means background check, safety training, et cetera, et cetera. And you have to register your firearms. They must be registered. There are certain firearms which are prohibited, like semi-automatic rifles, shotguns, pump-action shotguns, etc. So that's the deal. The number of registered firearms in Australia is 4 million. 4 million registered firearms. Well, the population, what, 25 million, 30 million in Australia? 4 million registered firearms. In the United States, population 350 million. I think we have 500 million guns estimated. You don't have to register them. But you have to, the purchase you have to keep track of. Obviously, there's rules about that. You go and buy a gun at a store, you got to fill out a form, and you got to pass a background check, et cetera, et cetera. But you're not registered in the way they're registered in Australia. Now, I've got a theme here going on. Elected political leaders in many areas of the West have no common sense. And by that I mean, look at Europe, no common sense. What have they done? They've allowed Islamists to come into their countries and take them over. And they're not putting up any fight to stop it in many of these countries. Australia, same thing, right? You've got that a little bit here in the United States in blue cities and blue states. But you would think that a common sense, the prime minister there down in Australia, would have a common sense solution that made it easier for average citizens to protect themselves. You would think that. But oh no. What does he want? He wants, the guy's name is Albanese, Prime Minister Albanese. And so after these shootings, here's what he had to say. Play this clip right now.
And I want to conclude finally by saying that the government is prepared to take whatever action is necessary. Included in that is the need for tougher gun laws. And this afternoon at 4 o'clock I will put on the agenda of the National Cabinet tougher gun laws, including limits on the number of guns that can be used or licensed by individuals. A review of licences over a period of time. People's circumstances change. People can be radicalised over a period of time. Licences should not be in perpetuity. And checks, of course, making sure that those checks and balances are in place as well. We will I'll take to National Cabinet this afternoon a proposal to empower agencies to examine what can be done in this area. Quite clearly, the Howard government's gun laws have made an enormous difference in Australia and are a proud moment of reform, quite rightly, achieved across the Parliament with bipartisan support. If we need to toughen these up, if there's anything we can do, I'm certainly up for it, and I hope to get National Cabinet on board for that this afternoon as well.
So, Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said after this, he personally warned that guy, Prime Minister Albanese, in a letter several months ago, that Australia's policies, specifically its recognition of a Palestinian state and support for its two-state solution, were encouraging and pouring fuel on anti-Semitism. Yeah, you think so? Now, this particular incident, the son here, his name is reportedly Naveed Akram, the 24-year-old who survives. The father is father's dead. This guy was investigated in 2019 due to links to a Sydney-based Islamic State cell. But at that time, quote, there was no indication of any ongoing threat or threat of him engaging in violence. So the weird thing about this is, look, so the son has been investigated for connection to an Islamist cell, right? 2019. But the father apparently was registered and owned 6 firearms. I don't know if it was the long rifles he was using in this case, but think about this. Are you going to trust a country that has this registration process for guns and decides, oh, yeah, we're going to allow the guy whose son is connected to an Islamist state cell and has been investigated to have all these guns, but if you're a normal person, no, you can't have them? This is where it's all going. This is why Australia is going in the wrong direction. You know, there was a time back at the early start of the Tea Party movement when a fellow by the name of James Bennett had written a book about the importance of the Anglosphere for the world retaining its kind of connection to Western civilization. And in that he said, look, the rule of law is an Anglo-American idea spread throughout the English-speaking world. And we need to constantly promote the rule of law. And to do that, Bennett argued, the Anglosphere will save the world. No. And look, I thought that might be the case as well. But no, the weakest of the weak now are these nincompoops running the United Kingdom. Keir Starmer, letting all these Islamists in, letting all these rape gangs from Pakistan in the north of England just terrorize young English-born women. Ridiculous. And now you've got this Albanese guy down in Australia saying, well, we've had these violent attacks, and the answer to it is more gun control to keep guns away from citizens so they can protect themselves. No. The world needs American strength, and it's not coming from the United Kingdom. It's not coming from Australia. It's not coming from Canada. In fact, you could argue that the rise of authoritarianism has been accelerated of late in the United Kingdom, in Canada, in Australia. And so the United States must stand firm in protecting Second Amendment rights and individual liberty and freedom of the speech. We stand firm and then push back against Canada and the United Kingdom and Australia and the European Union. Hey, when we come back, more with the Michael Patrick Leahy Show.
Ponder this. Most of us in America have more than we need to sustain ourselves, like a roof over our heads, food to eat, and clothes to wear, and much more. The one thing we seem to be lacking every day is more time. There is never enough time in our day, or in a night for that matter. That being said, we try to create more time each day by rushing around to perhaps buy a little more time. We rush from one event to another. We double or even triple task to save time. We drive fast cars to get to our fast food restaurants. Our days are full with little time left for family, friends, and God. To better manage your pace, take a minute each morning to get on your knees and let the Lord know that you are giving Him all your time today. Sincerely ask Him to give you clear direction on what He wants you to accomplish each day. The Lord will make sure you have plenty of time for His will to be done without rushing around. Listen to the Lord to manage your time each day. I'm Susie Kelly, and I am passionately Catholic.
Did you ever stop and think, why do the wealthy pay less taxes than we do? One reason, they take full advantage of the IRS tax code. Today's tax code is over 2 million pages. Who can read that? Remember the 2016 debate with Hillary Clinton? When asked why he doesn't pay more taxes, President Trump had the perfect answer. He said, if you don't like the current tax code, change it. I follow the very laws that you wrote. That's where Julio Gonzalez and his company, Tax Engineered Services, comes in. Julio's team looks at your taxes after they're done, but before you file them with the IRS. He doesn't get between you and your accountant. He reviews your taxes, makes his recommendations, and only gets 5 to 10% of what he saved you. No money up front, no cost. It's tax literacy for MAGA. He also sees what grants you may qualify for. For more information, text ETS to the number 26786. That's ETS to 26786. Text now.
When you're learning something new, experience matters. At Lifestyles Unlimited, we've spent over 30 years teaching people how real estate investing works and how to build income with a clear, step-by-step strategy. Our program is designed to help you learn what to do, why it works, and how to take action at your own pace. Join today for just $297, a 60% savings off the regular price. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
Is your fur baby looking a bit rough? Transform them from shaggy to snazzy with Befur and After Pet Grooming in Marietta, Georgia. Their top-notch groomers pamper your pups with baths, custom cuts, and nail trims that'll have them strutting like show dogs. From mobile grooming vans to their cozy salon, they'll make your pet spa day a tail-wagging blast. Book now at BefurandAfterGrooming.com. Befur and After, where pets go from grr to glamorous.
Woo! Hey there, it's Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of GlockStore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported our Second Amendment rights with GlockStore.com, the world's #1 source for Glock handguns, parts, and accessories. I also support accurate, unbiased journalism like The Michael Patrick Leahy Show. His team broke the Kilmar Abrego Garcia traffic stop and was the first to obtain that video. Independent journalism at its finest. Visit us at GlockStore.com, listen to Michael Patrick Leahy, and make America great again.
This Christmas, My heart is filled with gratitude. The birth of Jesus Christ changed the world forever, bringing hope, peace, and a Savior who walks with us through every season. I'm grateful for this community, for your kindness, and for the chance to serve alongside you in a meaningful way throughout the year ahead. From my family to yours, Merry Christmas. May God bless you, your home. Happy birthday, Jesus.
Paid for by Mark Pody for Senate, Candace Graham Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back. I want to talk a little bit about public education here in Tennessee, and this is a consequence of a story that we have up at the Tennessee Star. The Tennessee Star that on Friday morning, there was an initiative announced to launch Turning Point USA chapters across all public high schools and post-secondary students institutions in Tennessee. Tennessee Turning Point USA leaders and top Tennessee officials, including U.S. Senator Marsha Blackburn, Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson, and Governor Bill Lee, announced that the volunteer state, that's us here, would work with the organization to establish Club America chapters at every high school, every college, every university campus throughout the state in honor of the late Charlie Kirk. I'll get back to this in a bit. Why is this necessary? I'll tell you why. A fellow by the name of Brett Pike described it well. We've got this in clip 14. It's a little bit wonky, but it makes the case that public schools across the country, including in Tennessee, are in essence pushing Marxist ideology. Let's play this right now. Clip 14, Brett Pike.
Everyone worries about the university indoctrination that happens up here, but it is the crooked foundation of the public school system that makes university indoctrination possible. Everything in school is filtered through the Marxist lens of oppressed versus oppressors. So schools introduce gender ideology, and anyone who's against it is framed as intolerant. They introduce critical race theory, and anyone who's against it is framed as racist. The school introduces feminism, and if you go against it, you're a misogynist or part of the patriarchy. And they introduce socialism, and anyone who's against that is privileged. Now, more often than not, in fact, most of the time, this isn't happening overtly, but it's subtly embedded into curriculum. So, for example, when they teach about slavery, and they do this in elementary school, they teach that the U.S. had slavery, that people were stolen from their homes, that there was abuse, mistreatment, and we all know this. Everyone agrees that slavery was a really bad thing and there shouldn't be slavery. But they don't teach that the United States had banned slavery in 7 states when the rest of the world had only banned it in 7 countries.
Okay, so this is a pretty good illustration of the problem in public schools. And I know this because of our work with the National Constitution Beat. By the way, go to nationalconstitutionbeat.org. If you are a student anywhere in the country, you get our book, our Guide to the Constitution and Bill of Rights for Secondary School Students. And in October of this year, we'll hold our annual Constitution Bee, $10,000 in prizes, in scholarships to the winner. And we've had some terrific winners. One of the winners went on to graduate to Columbia University Law School, is now a law clerk for the chief judge of the 11th Circuit Court. Another of our winners is graduated from Alabama Law School and is a clerk for a federal district court judge in Alabama. Now, we are actually looking at partnering with Turning Point USA to provide them with copies of this book and to help teach kids who are in the club about the Constitution. Why do we need to do this? Well, I can tell you this. If you go to pretty much any K-12 public school in Tennessee right now or across the country and you talk about the Constitution, you're going to hear things like the living Constitution, which is totally bogus. You won't hear any originalism, and it's very, very biased. Now, the idea here is before Charlie Kirk was assassinated, in the state of Tennessee, there were 9 Tennessee Turning Point USA chapters in high schools. Within like a couple weeks of his assassination, that grew to 35. There are, several hundred high schools in Tennessee. This initiative with Turning Point USA, they want to add a total of every high school and every college in the United States. Marsha Blackburn, who, as you know, is a candidate for governor in the 2026 race, said the partnership between Turning Point USA and Tennessee is vital, emphasizing the need to foster, quote, robust, respectful, bipartisan debate among young people. And here is what Jack Johnson, State Senate Majority Leader, said about this. Since its founding, Turning Point USA has championed freedom and empowered young people to stand strong in their beliefs. Today, we announced an important partnership and shared a vision to establish Turning Point Club America chapters in every Tennessee high school. Now, here's the thing. This is a very important first step. Let's get these chapters out there. But ultimately, what do you want to do? You want to actually change the curriculum as delivered to these students. Because I can promise you right now, there are 1 million K-12 public school students in Tennessee right now. And to those that get the Constitution, a very, very small, I don't know if any of them get an originalist view of the Constitution in their courses. And you know this when you talk to the kids. They don't understand it. This has got to change. This is a very good first step. Hey, guess what? A real treat when we come back. Our very good friend Chris Berger is here in studio. He's in the house. We'll talk about the Tennessee General Assembly and all things Tennessee when we get back with Chris Berger. Back after this.
The Cats and Cosby Show.
It's the top news of the day.
There's a number of Democratic members of Congress who are pushing for impeachment, not just going after the president, going after RFK Jr. and others.
It's a common sense recap of the big stories.
Judge Weinberg.
Listen, it's the most important time.
Cats and Cosby, weekdays 5 Eastern, 4 Central on the stations of the John Fredericks Media Network.
This is a big deal.
If you've tried everything for cheek redness or breakouts and nothing works, it's not your fault. The real cause might be deeper than you think. Introducing Clear Skin Ivermectin Cream from the Wellness Company, a prescription-strength, dermatologist-developed formula that helps reduce inflammation, balance bacteria, and restore your skin's natural glow. This triple-action cream combines 3 medical-grade ingredients for powerful results. Azelaic acid to unclog pores and fade dark spots, metronidazole to control bacterial imbalance and redness, and ivermectin to calm irritation and eliminate skin parasites that contribute to rosacea and acne. Together, these ingredients work to reduce bumps, swelling, and redness while supporting smoother, healthier, and more radiant skin over time. Formulated and compounded in the United States, this FDA-approved cream is trusted by doctors for visible and lasting results. Experience clear, confident skin with the Wellness Company's Clear Skin Ivermectin Cream. U.S. residents only. Head to twc.health/Godzilla and use code Godzilla to save $20 off, plus free shipping.
John Fredericks loves his radio and TV audience, but did you know how to follow the Godzilla of Truth wherever you go? Download the John Fredericks Radio Show app to listen live nationwide. For the daily chit-chat, Trucking the Truth, download the Getter app and join the morning fun on Getter Live from 6 to 10 a.m. Follow John Fredericks on Getter, Truth Social,
WENO Nashville, KQPN West Memphis. Get your winning plays and parlays from Godzilla Wins, Saturdays at 7 a.m. or click GodzillaWins.com.
Breaking news at Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. Rob Reiner, noted filmmaker and television personality, is dead at age 78. He and his wife, Michelle Singer, were found dead on Sunday at their Los Angeles home. LAPD Chief of Detectives Alan Hamilton was the first to announce the news to the public yesterday afternoon.
Approximately 3:40 this afternoon, Los Angeles police officers, along with the Los Angeles City Fire Department, responded to the 200 block of Chadbourne Avenue here in the city of Brentwood. Upon arrival, they determined that there were 2 deceased individuals inside of the residence.
Reiner came to fame for his role as Archie Bunker's son-in-law in the TV social satire sitcom All in the Family. Officials in Providence say they have released a person of interest who had been detained in a Brown University shooting that killed 2 students. They're still in search of a gunman. President Trump sent his condolences to the victims on Sunday.
To the 9 injured, get well fast, and to the families of those 2 that are no longer with us, I pay my deepest regards and respects from the United States of America.
The mainstream press and Australian officials playing down the likely religious motivations of the suspects who murdered 15 people at a Hanukkah celebration in Sydney, Australia, choosing instead to focus on a push for tighter gun laws.
We understand that the father and the son were holding out in a rented house in a suburb in Sydney in preparation for this attack with 6 legally held firearms. The older man was shot dead. His 24-year-old son, he was critically injured and he's in hospital. We know that the father arrived in Australia on a student visa in the late 1990s. We don't know too much more, but we do know that his son was investigated by the authorities in 2019 and was deemed not to be a threat at that time. So I would imagine all of these details will be revisited.
That is correspondent Phil Mercer reporting. More from townhall.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-583-0141. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-583-0141. That's 800-583-0141. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
And now here's Rich Thomason with a midday Wall Street Business Report.
A new AP North poll finds this holiday season not quite so merry for American shoppers, as large shares of them are dipping into savings, scouring for bargains, and feeling like the overall economy is stuck in a rut. The vast majority of adults say they've noticed higher than usual prices for groceries, electricity, and holiday gifts. Volkswagen making a big move in China. VW is investing $3.5 billion in a research and development center in central China. It marks a shift from its previous strategy of making cars in China that were developed overseas. Now the company is creating vehicles specifically for Chinese drivers. iRobot has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, but says it does not expect any disruptions as the more than 30-year-old company is taken private under a restructuring process. I'm Rich Thomason.
You'll find breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. Keith Peters reports there's been the discovery of early church art in Turkey.
Archaeologists in Turkey have uncovered a significant fresco of Jesus as the Good Shepherd from Anatolia's early Christian era. The painting was found in August in an underground tomb near Iznik, a town known for the Nicene Creed's adoption in AD 325. The fresco shows a youthful Roman-looking Jesus carrying a goat. Researchers say it's a rare depiction of Jesus with Roman attributes. The Good Shepherd motif symbolized protection and salvation before the cross became Christianity's universal symbol. Keith Peters, Washington.
VW bets big on China. Volkswagen committing $3 billion to build its largest research and development center outside of Germany in Hefei. It's aimed to design electric vehicles tailored just for Chinese drivers. More on these stories at
It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We are delighted to welcome to our microphones here in studio for the very first time our very good friend, the CEO of Rotunda Public Affairs, Chris Berger. Welcome, Chris.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me on. It's great to be here.
We are delighted to have you here in studio for the first time, and we've known each other for quite a while. You are, very much involved in conservative politics here in Tennessee. Before we get into Rotunda Public Affairs, let's talk a little bit about who you are, where you're from. So what's your story? Where were you? So you've been involved in Tennessee politics for some time, but you have connection to several southern states.
Correct.
Alabama, right?
Yes, sir.
Virginia?
Yes, sir.
Although
the mother of presidents.
It is the mother of presidents. Does it qualify as a southern state anymore?
I think it does. It's south of the Mason-Dixon line. So
it is.
Depends where you are. It's probably what part of the state, if sweet tea is readily available or not, then you are or you're not.
So the suburbs of Washington, D.C., Fairfax County and all those places, I don't know. That's not really southern anymore, is it?
I don't think it's really southern, but you get down towards Richmond or Southwest Virginia, closer to
Southwest Virginia. Yeah,
yep,
yeah,
definitely is
Richmond. And
but I lived in Arlington for about 5 or 6 years. So.
Arlington, of course, is a suburb. It's in Fairfax County, isn't it?
It's its own county. It's its own county.
Arlington's its own county. That's right. I lived back in my youth when I did live in Arlington, Alexandria for a couple summers, as I recall. This was before I saw the light. I'm an Irish Catholic kid from upstate New York. And so obviously, my goal in life was to be the next John F. Kennedy, the Irish Catholic Democrat president of the United States. And then I got to Harvard and I realized, oh no, they're crazy.
Well, JFK today would be a Republican.
He would be, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really interesting if you look at the evolution of the Kennedy family. I mean, JFK today clearly would be a Republican. His grandson is nuts. I mean, Jack Schlossberg, Caroline's son, he's running for Congress. He does all these.
I've seen a few stories, but don't follow him closely.
Totally nuts.
Yeah.
And yet now his nephew, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., really is part of the Trump administration.
One of the president's top advisors.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of interesting. Okay, so your story. Born where?
Born in Charlottesville, Virginia. So my dad's actually from North Dakota and grew up on a farm, but went into ROTC and the Air Force. And then my mom's from Ohio, and they met when my dad was in grad school and my mom was an undergrad at Kent State. And then my dad and mom got married, moved to Japan, and then to D.C. He was at the Pentagon. And then he got out of the military and got his PhD at Kentucky. And then his first teaching gig was at the University of Virginia, where I actually ended up going to school.
He was a assistant professor.
Business professor.
What area of business?
The McIntyre School of Commerce. He does marketing, management, and also does a focus on statistics.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So you were born in Charlottesville when he was
born in Charlottesville.
Was he an assistant professor there, or?
Oh, Mike, I don't know his exact title, but he was at the Commerce School, and when I was at UVA, several of professors that he
knew him,
taught with, were there, and they'd take me to lunch and kind of took me under their wing. So I did econ and government at UVA, so I didn't do the comm school, but did a lot of business-related classes.
Where in North Dakota is your dad from?
So he's from a small town called Glen Olin, and the best way to find it is go about 60 miles west of Bismarck, and that's
the middle of nowhere.
He grew up on a farm, and you could. I remember when we'd go visit as a kid, I'd go run around the town.
60 miles west of Bismarck is very close to the Theodore Roosevelt National Park, isn't it? I think so, yeah.
I'm assuming we went as kids.
Near Dickinson, yeah.
We did a big family trip one year. We went to North Dakota several times, but we did a big family trip one summer where we literally drove around the United States and went to South Dakota too, and went and saw Mount Rushmore, went down to the Grand Canyon, and back to, at the time, I mainly grew up in Alabama.
The key question about North Dakota is, what time of year did you visit it?
Oh, always in the summertime. I never went in the winter.
Way back when, I had a client in North Dakota. And then, of course, I did a little bit of work with Doug Burgum's firm in Fargo. Fargo's a nice place.
Yeah.
But they're out in the West in the winter. Ooh, brr.
I never went in the wintertime. I still have relatives out there, and actually one of my, I guess, I don't know what number cousin it would be, but a relative, his wife and him now live here in Middle Tennessee.
Yeah, well,
so they've seen the light.
You saw the light. Okay.
Although North Dakota is booming.
So you spent time in Alabama, and then you went back to Virginia for high school.
Went back to Virginia for high school. Actually grew up, and I think we're going to talk some about school choice and education later. Product of the public school system from 1st through 8th grade, private kindergarten. And then when we moved, my parents looked around, and long story short, they sacrificed, and I ended up going to a private classical high school, and then
in Virginia,
and then went to University of Virginia. And we can get more into my career too, but lived in D.C. and
so
I've lived here in Middle Tennessee a couple times.
Was your dad a professor in the Virginia area?
He was. So you've probably heard of Regent University.
Outstanding school.
He helped start their distance learning program, also taught classes in person, but that was kind of the advent of distance learning as we know it today. And he taught there, and then they had grandkids, and he moved. They looked at places in the South, and so I'm the youngest of 3, and they've got 4 grandchildren. And so he got an offer at Trevecca, and he taught at Trevecca and was director of their MBA program for several years,
and then
recently retired. So,
from Trevecca, good school here in Nashville.
Great school.
So that's the connection.
I think he spent 20 plus years at Trevecca.
No kidding.
Yep.
Yeah, interesting. Well, by the way, it's our tower, broadcast tower, for 760 AM is the former Trevecca tower, right out by the campus.
I just have to say, my dad's a wonderful person. Has taught me so much, and I think as I've gotten older and matured, I've come to value and appreciate his perspective even more. But really hard worker. His dad died when he was in college. He took a year off of college, went back, ran the family farm, and then went back.
Was it a wheat farm?
They all kinds of things.
All kinds of stuff,
and so maybe you should have him on your show. But also was in the military, and then highly educated person who really, I think the number one thing outside of just being a great father and a great husband to my mom, my dad was always present. He always came to our soccer games and supported us, and a lot quieter than my mom, but very insightful, and his love for us is abundantly clear. And so my dad is an amazing person, as is my mother. But,
so, and your mom, Bev Berger, right?
Yes. And we largely agree, but I will not speak for her on political issues. But she's a Franklin powerhouse.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about. So you graduated from a classical school in the Virginia Beach area.
Yep.
Right. And then you attend University of Virginia. Now, it's an elite school, founded by former President Thomas Jefferson. In 1819, something like
1819, correct, yeah. Mr. Jefferson.
And the Monticello is, right in Charlottesville, so it's right near there. When you attended it, had the University of Virginia gone woke yet?
Not entirely. I would say it was a great experience. I was somewhat active in college Republicans, but I found that was more of a social club, so I would go volunteer for individual campaigns. And the first campaign I ever volunteered on was in 6th grade. A friend of ours, Wayne Parker, ran for Congress down in Alabama. We all went to church together, and my mom's been really involved in the pro-life movement and politics, and so I grew up around it, but went to UVA. And
we'll talk about that when we get back. Our guest, Chris Berger, CEO of Rotunda Public Affairs, a Tennessee political powerhouse. Back after this.
Hi folks, John Fredericks here for Freedom Alliance. Veterans are still struggling with the wounds of war. They came home with injuries that changed them forever. The flag-burning troublemakers in our streets remind me how fortunate we are to have patriots who served and fought, sacrificed, and never complained. We need to support them through organizations like the Freedom Alliance. It's Military Appreciation Month and time to support those who serve. Freedom Alliance is caring for combat veterans and military families. Combat veterans fought in the worst, most dangerous places on earth. Freedom Alliance takes them to nature's most relaxing locations so they can heal. Freedom Alliance gives injured troops mortgage-free homes, new cars, and all-terrain wheelchairs. For wounded vets, there's nothing like the stability of your own home, the reinsurance of a reliable vehicle, or the independence of a wheelchair that navigates snow, ice, beach, pasture, or most any terrain. Let's fight for those who fought for us. Go to freedomalliance.org/Godzilla and make a monthly gift that will improve the life of a military hero. That's freedomalliance.org/Godzilla. Make a contribution today.
If you're like me, most moms find it difficult to prioritize self-care. Hi, it's Colleen, Program Director at the John Fredericks Media Network. With the demands of programming 13 radio stations, it's easy to forget about the things I should do for myself daily. And that's why I started with our company's Women's Challenge with Native Path Collagen Peptides. It's affordable and convenient care in just one scoop a day. There are so many incredible health benefits like bone and joint support, metabolism booster, and hair, skin, and nail improvement. I like to take a moment each day to prioritize myself and indulge in the health-boosting benefits of Native Path Collagen Peptides. I love mixing it up with all the different smoothie recipes, too. Learn more about Native Path Collagen Peptides and read 7 important reasons why you should be taking collagen peptides at getnativepath.com/Godzilla. Prioritize your self-care with Native Path Collagen Peptides. Try it risk-free for as low as $21 today and get free shipping at getnativepath.com/Godzilla.
Target.com. Target.com is an online e-commerce tire retailer. We are here to serve the American public with the best possible customer service, the best pricing, and we make it extremely easy. We have many name brands and a lot of low-cost tires. The price is right, and it's easy. You go online to Target.com, Tireget.com, Target.com. You go there, you put your zip code in, all the inventory displays right in front of you. You can call in for help if you want to. We'll help you get the tire that you need. But we will take the tires you buy and at no extra charge deliver them to the dealer right by your house where they will be installed at the market price. It's easy. The best price, the best service. Great people to deal with. Thank you for going to Target.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Our guest, Chris Berger, who is the CEO of Rotunda Public Affairs, a Tennessee political powerhouse. Chris, let's talk a little bit about your journey towards Tennessee, which is always interesting. So you graduated from a classical high school in the Virginia Beach area, and then you went to the University of Virginia. It was not quite woke at that time. You tell me, right?
Well, I think the most important thing is you as an individual, your agency, what you do with the time and resources that you have. And so UVA was definitely, I'd say, left of center compared to other large public universities like Auburn. One of my brothers went to Auburn. Love Auburn. War
Would
Eagle.
you say, would you say Auburn is center, or
I'd say Auburn's right of center.
Right of center,
at least the student population. But here's the deal, Mike. I went to University of Virginia, and there I think we were taught to think for ourselves and how to think, not what to think. And I had great professors from all different political backgrounds. I would say the economics department had more conservatives than almost any other department, but it was still probably left-leaning. But one of my best professors at the time, a lady named Lori Balfour, and she did political classes, and she was far left. And she encouraged robust debate and discussion. I would stop by her office hours and we'd talk, and it was always civil and respectful, and we had great conversations. Since, there have been I think it's Emma Camp might be her name. I might be getting that wrong. She wrote a piece in the New York Times talking about being afraid of being canceled, and she's a left of center person because she isn't woke enough. But I mean, I remember tabling on the lawn, which is the quad at UVA. We call it grounds, but the campus. And I was tabling for then President George W. Bush and his reelection.
When you say tabling, tell people what you mean.
You're handing out literature. And
you have a table.
You literally have
literature.
A table.
Yeah,
and
sort of like not exactly what Charlie Kirk ended up doing, but similar. In other words, you get started by handing out literature.
And there was a very liberal professor who came up and yelled at me and called me a war criminal for supporting George W. Bush. And I just smiled and told her to have a wonderful day and thanks so much for voicing your opinion. But I was never afraid of being canceled. And it was funny. I ran for student office and I got every endorsement except for the university Democrats. And I still won. But, it was really about learning and robust debate. And when I was there, I was never afraid of being canceled. And I think it's interesting. I'm not going to defend everything he did, but I asked a question at reunions of our now former university president, and they had written an op-ed defending free speech and Vice President Pence coming and speaking at the university, and he talked about the importance of free speech and robust conversation. And so I think professors of mine obviously have changed, and people do change, but it was a great experience for me, and as an alumni, I've been critical of things where I disagree and have praised them in areas where I do agree. But for me, it was a wonderful experience and led me to the career that I've had today. And Thomas Jefferson said, you're never a senior in your learning. That's why they call it first, second, third, and fourth year. And so I'm in my early 40s, and I'm still learning today. But
one thing about the campus of the University of Virginia, the architecture there is splendid. And the layout is very, very impressive. And there's a I think you've taken this name on in your company. There's a big rotunda there. Tell us about the rotunda. What that is. What's the importance of the rotunda at the University of Virginia?
So it's the centerpiece of the university. It's the original library. And so Thomas Jefferson, the lawn is essentially the quad or main part of the campus, and the rotunda, modeled after the Pantheon in Rome, but basically 3 levels, library. You can go visit it today. It's open to the public. Mm-hmm. There's events there. I would go study there as a student sometimes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But then you've got 10 houses. They're called pavilions, and then lawn rooms in between. And so the professors would live in these houses, and the students would live in between. They teach classes on the first floor of these pavilions. And so from there, the campus, or we call it grounds, built from there. But that is the heart of the university, and there's a library on the other side of that. But Thomas Jefferson designed it, and it was started while he was there, and then he, passed on, and the university's gone from there. But when I was there, I think it was around 12,500 undergrads. It's very beautiful.
2 questions for you. What happened to Larry Sabato? Okay, for those, tell our listeners who Larry Sabato is.
He is, I think, still the most quoted person in the world on American politics. He's a professor at the University of Virginia.
And he does what? Crystal Ball?
Crystal Ball. I actually interned for him.
No.
I did. And
that's a picture I've got to see.
At the Center for Politics. And I did his Introduction to American Politics course. I did his Virginia Government Politics course. I did his Campaigns and Elections course. Actually, U.S. Supreme Court Justice Sam Alito's kid was in the same class as me. And
no kidding.
Mr. Sabato would have us over for dinner or to hang out after it's a 2.5-hour once a week course, Campaigns and Elections. And he was a great professor to me. I think he's gone. When I was there, he said we should never know his political beliefs and that he's really a prognosticator. I think that has since changed. And, it's not what it was when I was there. And I think the most important thing is to be transparent about your beliefs if you're going to vocalize them. But he's taken more of a left of center approach as of late.
He hates Donald Trump.
So,
didn't he predict that Donald Trump would lose in 2016 and lose in 2024?
I have to go back and check his track record.
But, the track record was pretty bad.
I've challenged him on some things where we disagree. I don't think he's been as receptive to hearing that commentary, but his development folks did reach out to me.
They want money?
And I told them that the biggest impediment for me to give them money is that Mr. Sabato has not been unbiased in his commentary as of late.
Think?
And so, he's no longer calling balls and strikes.
No.
So
yeah, he's just biased.
He's not the Larry I knew when I was there.
He sort of lost, pretty much me talking, not you. He's lost all credibility because he just hates Donald Trump so much, it seems to me. Okay, so that was question number 1. Are you ready for question number 2?
I feel like I'm in the hot seat. Let's have it.
How on earth did 7-5 Duke beat Virginia, 10-2 Virginia in the ACC championship?
It's a great question. I do not know, but I was at the gym yesterday, and a guy had a JMU sweatshirt on.
James Madison, give me a break.
And I was very nice and cordial, and then he started talking trash, but it was only because we lost. I think that they're now in the college playoffs, and I was trying to be nice, but he
Madison.
He made a derogatory comment or two about my Wahoos, and so then I had no choice but to further engage and said, just missed UVA, JMU. So all fun banter. I told him we were rooting for him, and good luck this weekend.
I'm not rooting for James Madison. I'll tell you why. I don't think they should be in there. They're in the 12.
I do think the college playoff system should just be the top 12 teams.
Yeah.
And I think
this group of 5 things, or they shouldn't be in. Tulane shouldn't be in. I mean, the last 2 probably should have been Notre Dame, either Vanderbilt or Texas.
Yeah, I would say Notre Dame and Vanderbilt.
Yeah,
but I will say this too. UVA, we're typically only good in sports that don't make money, so it's a little weird to have the Wahoos doing well in football. And then we won the national championship a couple years ago in basketball.
Yeah,
under Coach Tony Bennett, who, by the way, is a fantastic human being.
How did you? So you graduated from UVA. How do you end up with Rotunda Public Affairs here in Tennessee?
So my background, grew up in a political family. Obviously, my mom's a local elected official now. Got my first start volunteering on a friend's congressional race when I was in 6th grade and again in 8th grade. And then obviously studied econ and government at UVA. I interned in college for U.S. Congresswoman then at the time, or Congressman Marsha Blackburn.
We know Marsha Blackburn well.
And then
she's going to be on the show Wednesday of this week.
Great. Well, Marsha helped give me my start in politics, and also interned for then former Congressman Randy Forbes of Virginia. And then I did a summer program in government affairs, and then worked on Fred Thompson's ever short-lived presidential campaign.
Fred Thompson.
And I was here on that.
By the way, Jerry Thompson, his widow, is a friend and listens to our show all the time. Hello, Jerry.
Hi, Jerry. I've met you before, and obviously Fred was a great man. And then
John McLaughlin, our great friend, the pollster, was the pollster for that campaign.
Correct. So I worked on Fred's campaign, and then worked in corporate public affairs work. Left that to go work on Mitt Romney's 2012 campaign. And then, so we're 0 for 2.
Mitt Romney.
We're 0 for 2 if you're keeping track. You learn more when you lose than when you win. And then I went back and did corporate public affairs work. And then I moved here and worked at a small public affairs firm doing nonprofit and corporate work. And then I met now Governor Bill Lee at a Bible study. And I did some PR on tort reform. And
so we
became
did a little
friends.
Help with the Governor Lee's first campaign?
Yeah. And so
the one where he drove through the middle?
And so
and
I volunteered in the campaign for a long time, and then eventually came on and worked on the campaign in an official capacity, and then worked in the administration for 3 years, and then I launched Rotunda Public Affairs, and so we do corporate.
Now, what did you do in his administration?
So I started out, helped to get the Commissioner of Health started, and then moved over with the new commissioner then at Commerce and Insurance, and worked in state government for about 3 years as Assistant Commissioner and Chief Strategy Officer.
We'll be back with our very good friend, CEO of Rotunda Public Affairs, Chris Berger, and we'll talk about the upcoming session of the Tennessee General Assembly. Back after this.
everyone, EJ Host here, founder of the Digital Footprint Management Agency and frequent guest on the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, here to tell you about GetFoundEverywhere.com. Customers are searching for your business everywhere: Google, Apple Maps, TikTok, and new AI platforms like ChatGPT and Gemini, which is a total disruptor. Traditional search engine optimization isn't dead, but it is on life support. Old tactics don't work anymore. So how can you make your business stand out? GetFoundEverywhere.com makes your business pop on over 50 search, map, review, and AI-driven platforms. With one easy dashboard, manage business profiles, social media accounts, direct messages, even texts and reviews. GetFoundEverywhere.com is affordable, boosts your visibility, and gets your business more customers. It's time to step up your game the easy way. Save time, save money, and get more customers with GetFoundEverywhere.com.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of Glockstore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported the Second Amendment rights of free men and women to protect themselves and their families with firearms. We offer the very best in both selection and prices on Glock handguns, custom Glocks, Glock magazines, and high-performance shooting accessories at Glockstore.com. We also have the finest retail showroom and our Shoot 270 shoot rooms right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Come visit us at Glockstore.com, and you'll be glad you did.
My fellow Americans, my good friends, I've known them for a long time, at D.T. McCall & Sons have the deal of a lifetime for you, and nobody knows deals like I do. That much I can tell you. Nobody knows deals like I do. The lumber yards, they can hit you with hidden charges for up to $200 extra. They'll charge you for cords and hoses and haul-offs. Your money goes all over the place and out of the state, and most importantly, out of your pockets. How do they get away with that? I don't know how they do that, but on day one, if you buy from McCall's, we are going to stop the hidden charges as soon as you buy it. D.T. McCall & Sons has locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, and they have been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years. Head to one of their stores today or check them out at dtmccalls.com. You're going to love it, believe me.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Our guest, CEO of Rotunda Public Affairs, Chris Berger. Well, Chris, let's talk about the Tennessee General Assembly. Let me tell you what I'm hearing.
Let's go for it.
I'm hearing it's going to be a short session. And it's going to focus on a couple things. Expanding the education scholarships, number one, and introducing legislation that, when passed and if signed into law by Governor Bill Leahy, will become the basis for a challenge to the 1982 Supreme Court decision, Plyler v. Doe, which forced public schools to provide free education to illegal alien children. That's what I'm hearing. Let's take it one at a time. What about, are you hearing it's going to be a short session?
So, and I'll just say, this is my personal opinion, not speaking on behalf of any clients or things like that, so don't attribute anything I say to them. It wouldn't surprise me if it's a short session, just because it's the campaign year and they cannot raise money while they're in session.
Yeah,
and so
that's interesting.
I think typically this is the shorter of the 2 years when they're in session. So I think normally they're out by mid-April, if not sooner.
Yeah,
but that would be my guess.
Is Tennessee the only state that prohibits raising money while in session? Or
I'm not sure,
for
but
state legislators?
There are states that have full-time legislators that make full-time salaries. So I would assume that those may raise money while in session. But
so
it makes sense though.
One
if you
of
think about it.
one of my themes here is to never, ever, ever have our state legislature be full time.
Good idea. Thomas Jefferson said the only time democracy is safe is when Congress is not in session.
Well, he said it before Mark Twain did. Very good. I like that. He did. He had a particular viewpoint.
At least it can be attributed to him by people at UVA. We'll double check the sources.
One of the things that I find interesting, I think it was his second cousin, was Chief Justice John Marshall. They hated each other, the two of them, Jefferson and Marshall. Marshall was a Federalist.
Jefferson has a history of not liking a lot of people. So
yeah, interesting. Okay, so back to the Tennessee General Assembly. So we think it'd probably be a shorter session. And let's talk about the Education Scholarship Program. We're big supporters of expanding that significantly. We also want to support expansion of charter schools. And the other area that we champion that others find interesting but don't have full understanding of is the adoption and implementation of a teaching methodology called direct instruction for reading, writing, and arithmetic. I think this is sort of aligns with your view as well, although probably not as familiar with direct instruction. But let's talk about the scholarships. Do you think, is there resistance in rural areas to the expansion of it, or what's the story on it that you think?
Well, my take is that there is an appetite to expand it. I've heard doubling potentially from 20,000 to 40,000.
That's what I'm hearing.
I think it's great that the governor's already came out and said he's supportive. I think Speaker Cameron Sexton has come out and called for the same thing.
Sitting in the same seat in which you are seated right now, about 2.5 weeks ago, he said, I'm all for it.
Yep. And, Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson and others. And
also sitting in the same seat you're sitting in.
Likely next governor, U.S. Senator Marsha Blackburn, has also called for the expansion. She said, don't wait on me. The legislature should go ahead and expand it. And I think the key is there's demand. We saw about 40,000-ish people apply for 20,000 education freedom scholarships. And so, there's demand. And here's the deal. This is good for all kids and students and parents and families. And so I trust parents and students to decide what's best for them. And my parents sacrificed and put me in a private classical high school. I did not come from means or wealth, very middle-class family. And my parents looked around, and I was in public school through 8th grade. And then for high school, a different area, they sacrificed. I think everyone should have that opportunity, and that we should empower folks with their own taxpayer dollars, whether you want to stay and go to your own public school, if that's a great fit, whether you want to go to a charter school or a private school or a home school or a religious school. I think parents and kids know best, and folks like to talk about local control. There is no greater local control than that of a parent and their child making that decision. And so I think we should support our public schools. I think we should support our public charter schools, which a lot of folks don't realize are public schools, and families who want to go to a different option. And I think we can support all those models and all those options. And because there's demand there, I think the legislature, I think there is an appetite. And here's the deal, too. I think it helps people across the board, whether you're in an urban area or a rural area. And, some folks say, well, there's not that option in a rural area. Well, then why are you so concerned that we're giving other folks an option? And then if there were an option like a private school or a micro school or something else, again, I think, why do we want to prohibit people from having a choice to do something that they think is best for their kid's education? People aren't going to do that if they don't think it's what's best for their child. And so at the end of the day, I want folks to be able to read and write and do math and have interpersonal skills and be reading and writing and math on grade level so that they can be a productive member of society and be ready for a job. I also think that's something important. Are we preparing kids with the skill set to then go get a job? And those are things where, at the end of the day, education is vital to your success long term as a member of society. And so I want to empower families and kids to get the best education for each child.
So there are about 1 million K-12 public school students in Tennessee. Last year, 20,000 of them got these scholarships. About what, $7,300, something like that, $7,000.
I think it's 7,200, give or take.
And so now they want to expand it to 40,000. The resistance, though, it seems to me, comes from the teachers' unions, some school administrators, and also some rural Republican members of the state legislature. And you referenced this before. And I've heard the argument in terms of opposition to expanding these scholarships. I hear the argument, well, in our county, our rural county, there are no private schools, or there's a very expensive private schools. What's the answer to that? You mentioned micro schools. What's a micro school, and what role could that play?
Well, I think taking a step back, it's really about empowering folks with control over where their child goes to school. And $7,200 is a lot of money that can help folks. You know, I know that there are Catholic schools, parochial schools. I think years ago, some schools in Memphis said, hey, you know, we could get additional scholarships. And I think the vast majority of private schools have opted into this new program. And at the end of the day, what those numbers tell me is a lot of people are very pleased with the education that they're currently getting in their existing zone public school or wherever their child is. But I think at the end of the day, this is going to allow 20,000 and hopefully 40,000 students to now have that opportunity as well. And so I don't think the vast majority of public schools are going to change much at all. And but competition is great. And I also think you mentioned something interesting. You talked about the TEA. Well, I'm not sure that they're always aligned with their membership.
Mm-hmm,
and so
you mean the leadership? It might be have a different view than the TEA members.
Teachers are it's one of the most commendable jobs in the world is educating our young people. And I remember I have teachers in public school and in private school who made a tremendous impact on my life, not just educationally, but how they cared for us and created a learning environment where we could thrive. And, you know, I know some of their names still today where they had a tremendous positive impact on my life. And so teachers are to be commended. And, you know, I think under this administration, more pay increases for teachers. Every teacher is going to make at least $50,000 or more at the end of the Leahy administration. And so at the end of the day, it's about empowering folks with options. And so whether it be, you know, if you look at the model of Oxford, right, where you have a professor and students are doing independent learning. Again, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this is the only model. I think it's encourage all models to thrive, and people can self-select into how that, even the best school is not the best fit for every child. And so I know that I learn differently than other people in my class and in my school. And I think the more options and the more pathways to success, I think another thing, career technical education. And that's something that this governor and that the new education funding formula has prioritized is more pathways to success. College is a great opportunity. I went to a 4-year college, but also we have a robust community college system, trade schools, TCATs, apprenticeships. We need jobs that are going to be sustainable for the long run. I have 2 older nephews, one's in college and one's in high school. And the one in high school talked about pursuing a pathway in the trades. And I told him, Uncle Chris will be the first one to invest in your business. I think that's a great idea. And I think it's about, you know, promoting interest and where you're aligned. And college is a wonderful pathway, but also we need career technical vocational training. And that's something that this legislature and this governor have prioritized. I think it's going to take years to see the fruits of that labor. But that's another reason why, you know, Tennessee is growing. I think we have 315,000 jobs in the trades that are open over the next 3 years. And there are great jobs that have terrific salaries and a wonderful pathway where you can grow in your career and in your earnings. And so at the end of the day, you know, there's not a one-size-fits-all model, but the vast majority of the public school students are going to stay in public school, and a lot of them are happy. And if they're not, this just empowers them with more resources to go get the education that best fits each child.
We haven't had a chance to do the postmortem on the TN7 special election. Got a few minutes here. Afton Bain, who's a completely insane leftist, fashions herself the AOC of Tennessee. They glammed her up for her commercials. And, of course, on election night, when she comes out to, quote, concede, she's wearing a rhinestone cowgirl outfit after she said she hates country music in Nashville and starts attempting to sing Dolly Parton's 9 to 5. What is your view on that election? To me, I thought it was much ado. Roger Simon described it, much ado about nothing much. What are your thoughts on that? What's the long-term impact of that election outcome?
So I live in the 7th, so I'm a constituent and a voter. And, I think if you go back and look at my X account, I called it that day. I said 8+ points.
Oh, you were at 8+.
And 8+.
Okay, I was at 10.
And
I came in that afternoon because before the afternoon was 5, but then I got the reports of heavy turnout. So 8 between the two of us, we got it exactly right.
8.9, right?
There
I think
you
that's
go.
what it was.
Yeah.
So with our two minds combined, almost perfect. So I wasn't worried, and I think it was a national media narrative, and people get ginned up.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's a conservative district. Trump won it by a lot, and it's also during a special election.
Yeah, special election. When we come back, are you ready for News Potpourri?
I am.
Here we
excited.
go. We'll be back with Chris Berger and News Potpourri after this.
Tom Carmichael, CEO of Soul Tea, a supplement to help you have a healthier heart and stronger cardiovascular system. At Soul Tea, we regularly get emails from our customers telling us how Soul Tea has helped them. Like this one from Kelly. Hello, I'm 58 years old and have had high cholesterol for years. I wanted to stay away from prescription drugs. My husband and I have been using Soul Tea for about 13 months. My results have been amazing. My cholesterol levels went from 291 to 129. I am so impressed with Soul Tea and want to thank you. Now, in my own case, my bad cholesterol dropped from 130 to 89, and that was 20 years ago. I'm 75 years old and I take 0 prescription drugs. To get a great deal on Soul Tea, please go to GodzillaHeart.com, and when you check out, use the code Godzilla to get our best deal, which is 50% off your first shipment and then 3 bottles for the price of 2 thereafter. You don't have to live with a broken heart.
Do you suffer from
Try
declining
Soul Tea
bone and
today.
joint health? Hi, it's Tina with the John Fredericks Media Network. And when I heard about our company's Women's Challenge, I jumped on the opportunity to test this amazing supplement that's already restoring my bone density, soothing my joint pain, and helping me regain lost mobility. I've experienced so many benefits in such a short time with Native Path Collagen Peptides because they support my bones and joints, boost my metabolism, and unleash the most radiant skin and hair since my 20s. In just 2 weeks, my knee stiffness is gone, and I'm already hitting the gym more aggressively. And I get so many compliments on my glowy skin and shiny hair. Native Path Collagen Peptides are so easy to take. They're tasteless, odorless, and mix great with my morning coffee. Read thousands of 5-star reviews at getnativepath.com/Godzilla. Level up your self-care with Native Path Collagen Peptides. Try it risk-free for as low as $21 today. And get free shipping at getnativepath.com/Godzilla.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cells Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to HealthyCell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's HealthyCell.com. Code GODZILLA for 20% off.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. In studio, my good friend Chris Berger, CEO of that Tennessee political powerhouse, Rotunda Public Affairs. Chris, it's that time of day again. It's time for News Potpourri. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, News Potpourri. This is the portion of the program we talk about the stories that are of note, don't necessarily merit a full segment, and may have a touch of irony. Tone-deaf Chuck Schumer.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. He was about to talk about, I think, the shootings at Brown University, and he said something totally inappropriate. Let's play this clip right now.
And, of course, I'm going to say a few words about the terrible shooting in Sydney, Australia.
Oh.
Okay? So, and first, of course, as I always say, no matter what, go Bills. They beat the Patriots today. It's
okay,
a big
what
deal.
a moron. I mean, let me talk about these 15 people that were murdered in Sydney, Australia. But first, go Bills.
Yeah,
He thinks that helps him in Western New York.
I think it's obviously a little tone deaf, but then,
It's Chuck Schumer.
I would say I'm a big supporter of Israel, and what happened at Bondi Beach, horrific. Obviously what happened at Brown, horrific. And senseless loss of life. And I think part of it's knowing the moment. And, but then again, we all sometimes fall short. And so I'll give him a little bit of grace. But
you're much nicer than I am.
But
By the way, he had some family troubles. Not he did. His niece is the comedian Amy Schumer.
Oh, I don't think I knew that.
Well, yeah. She's getting divorced.
Oh, no.
She got married like 2 years ago.
Well, my favorite Chuck Schumer moment is when he tweeted out the picture grilling burgers and they were raw, putting the cheese on them.
Yeah,
but,
Chuck, you're just his sell-by date is long gone. I mean, really, he's just so out of it.
But he is one of the more reasonable Democrat U.S. senators compared to others, which is amazing. So
yeah, compare him to Ilhan Omar. She thinks the problem in America is white males. Here we go. Let's play this clip.
A lot of conservatives in particular would say that the rise in Islamophobia is a result not of hate, but of fear, a legitimate fear, they say, of quote-unquote jihadist terrorism, whether it's Fort Hood or San Bernardino or the recent truck attack in New York. What do you say to them?
I would say our country should be more fearful of white men across our country, because they are actually causing most of the deaths within this country. And so if fear was
so that's they have a style here. What they do is they take, and she's attractive, but they've glammed her up big time, and she goes out and she appeals to certain younger folks, but she is completely anti-American. And of course, there's a report she married her brother. It's a weird history. It wouldn't hurt my feelings one bit if they found immigration fraud and just had to deport her as a result. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I think identity politics and things of that nature, her comments, are exactly what we're trying not to do as a society. Judge people by the content of their character and individuals. And I vehemently disagree with what she said. And par for the course for Ilhan Omar.
There's a weird story involving Candace Owens.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I know. She's like totally gone off the deep end.
And that's accurate.
And she's now she's been promoting the idea that the Prime Minister of France's wife is really a man. Also had been promoting the fact that the false claim that somebody on the inside was involved in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. She got her start at Turning Point USA, right? And she just promotes these things that are vile without any facts. Now, Erica Kirk is meeting privately with her today. I don't know. Why would you meet with Candace?
So
she's going to say, stop it.
Well, hopefully. I'll tell you this. Erica Kirk, and obviously what happened to Charlie. And, I'm reminded even what Rob Reiner, who tragically was murdered yesterday, said about Charlie Kirk, horrific, and we need to rise to the occasion and call terrible things for what they are. Charlie Kirk's murder and assassination was terrible, but, I think Candace Owens has kind of gone off the deep end, and I think it says more about the grace and the faith of Erica Kirk to even reach out and have that meeting. I think she's a better person than me for doing that. So I wish her well. I wish Candace would maybe just stop talking.
Really? She can't help herself.
It's ridiculous. Obviously, if you have information, I think I saw something, maybe I'm misattributing it, but I think it was Eric Erickson said, if you have a conspiracy theorist and you debunk their point, then they just go further and further down the black hole.
And that's where she's going.
And I just don't know where it's coming from. And I think we can call Charlie's assassination horrible and would say the same for anyone of any, violence and murder. Charlie literally said, when we stop talking to each other, bad things start happening. And so kudos to Erica for trying to address it. But I think at some point you have to cut off the crazy and move on.
Back to the murder of Rob Reiner and his wife. Yesterday, headline from Hollywood Reporter, Rob Reiner's son, Nick Reiner, arrested amid homicide investigation into parents' death. Bail has been set at $4 million after Nick Reiner was taken into custody by Los Angeles Police Department. The Hollywood director, Rob Reiner, and his wife, Michelle, found dead in their home on Sunday. There are reports they were stabbed to death. The couple suffered, according to Hollywood Reporter, lacerations consistent with a knife. And there are other reports that their throats were slashed. Terrible news, and it sort of, the whole thing is just beyond awful. And so we certainly wish his family well and in this sad time. Well, when you come back, that's it for our show today.
Thanks for having me on,
We'll be a little
Mike.
bit more upbeat. Okay, Diego Pavia,
Yep.
finished second place. Put out a tweet that he now regrets. Diego, stay away from the clubs. Chris Berger, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Mike.
All right. Up next, Rob Carson. I'll be back tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Central Time, TennesseeStar.com. Go to MichaelPatrickLeahy.com and order the ebook bundle of how the Deep State took down Richard Nixon for $9.95, a great Christmas gift. Back tomorrow.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Hey there, it's Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of GlockStore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported our Second Amendment rights with GlockStore.com, the world's #1 source for Glock handguns, parts, and accessories. I also support accurate, unbiased journalism like The Michael Patrick Leahy Show. His team broke the Kilmar Abrego Garcia traffic stop and was the first to obtain that video. Independent journalism at its finest. Visit us at GlockStore.com. Listen to Michael Patrick Leahy and make America great again.
FlatFeeNashville.com is a full-service real estate brokerage that charges homeowners a upfront flat fee of $999 to completely list, market, and sell your home. We are all about saving consumers money, saving that equity. Nobody should hire an agent and feel like when that agent walks in the door, that agent is more concerned about the down payment on their next Mercedes purchase versus saving the equity that those homeowners have worked hard for. I've spent my entire career in ensuring that the equity that people save and they put into their monthly mortgage every single month as much of that as we possibly can goes back to them when they go to list and sell that home. The idea is to give homeowners the ability to really create generational wealth.
Flatfeenashville.com, flatfeenashville.com.